Howdy, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the NoRights Podcast. Last episode of 2014. Get while it's hot before it gets aged and kind of creepy. You know, like that last donut in the box. Anyway, I'm your host, Ben, as usual, and joining me this week is my usual good co-host, Ian. How you doing, Ian? Yes, Ian's almost dead of the plague. You know, the demotivational plague that we hang up on the wall. Simpsons reference. Also joining us this week is a good friend of the show, Nate. How you doing, Nate?
Pretty good. I don't have the plague.
Good. Well, you're hanging out with Ian, so you'll get it soon. Oh, man. So what do you think?
We'll just be doing fist bumps tonight. No handshake goodbye or nothing.
Oh, man.
Like Howard Stern.
Oh, man. You guys, what do you got? You think you got the flu or just some sort of bug or?
I don't know, man. It's like I had something similar like last week where it was like a 24-hour bug or whatever, and now it's come back.
Oh, man. Well, it might have mutated and come back. Sometimes if they hang around, but I guess, that's usually more if you've got, like, people around you. If you're, like, just by yourself, it's a little harder to catch your own thing. Unless, you wear a shirt or something that you wore when you were sick. One of those weird things. I don't know. Some magic voodoo curse, I guess. I don't know. My mom gets sick and she'll get have all the symptoms of a cold and she'll refuse to believe it's the cold. No, it's my allergies acting up. I'm like, allergies, huh? In winter when everything's dying. Yeah, stuff dies and puts out spores. I'm like, no, it does that when it's springing to life, Mom. So it's like convenient. When a time of year when everyone gets a cold and you have all these symptoms, but you don't happen to have one because you're a special snowflake.
You should be like, here's some zinc for your allergies.
Well, I don't know. I just find the things that seem to happen right before I get sick, and I don't do them. And hey, I don't tend to get sick that much. Like having the window open when it's just starting. Like, no, I'll just leave that shut. I'm suspicious. Sitting in front of a space heater because when it starts getting cold and you want to crank that space heater, like, yeah, I'm gonna be nice and toasty, and then later it gets kind of humid in there. It's like, oh no, what did I do? So it's Monday. How you guys doing? Did you have a good weekend? Good times?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I guess it was. I'm trying to think of what we did. I did some Christmas shopping on Friday with me and my dad. Went over to the Chapel Hill Mall.
Sounds nice. I haven't really done much Christmas shopping yet because everyone's been bad boys and girls, in my opinion. I don't know. Some people are always so hard to shop for when they buy themselves whatever they want. So it's like, well, I gotta just find you something that you might like, but that you haven't run across yet. And I don't know. I'd kind of like if they at least faked a little enthusiasm, like, oh, hey, nice shirt, as opposed to, yeah, could have bought that myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just today I got a replacement mouse for my tablet because for some reason the scroll wheel on my mouse, it just stopped scrolling. And I was like, oh, I just got to get in there and clean that out, right? And I had to dig through the bottom, peel the little sticker off, get a screwdriver, unscrew it, open it up, and inside of my computer mouse, it looked like a real mouse of hair. It's like, well, this is not a good thing I want to see inside here. That's probably why. Let me start. Some of it had wrapped itself around the scroll wheel, a lot on one side, so it was kind of like it had developed a hump, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's like, oh boy, it's not. I kind of got it working, sort of, if you push at an angle, so I could scroll down, sort of, but then up it was just spinning. Like, well, had to order a new one, and retail, they're like, oh, those are $65, but if you buy it on Amazon, it's $30. I'm like, no, I'm gonna look somewhere else and see what I can find. Found one for $12 or something. That was on eBay. I'm going with that. Kind of used, fine. Newer than mine. Oh man.
Well, what? You said you got a mouse for your your tablet or your computer?
Well, it's for my tablet that I use on my computer because I don't have a mouse pad, so I just use the tablet and the mouse that came with it. So because it's got one of those nice 5-button mice where it's like it's got the scroll wheel and it's also middle click, left, right, and then it's got a back and a forward. So I use that because I've got I've got a Mac mouse, but I don't really like it, and I don't have I don't have a mouse pad, and it's just not the same. I wanted this exact one I have. So.
You don't like that Mighty Mouse?
Well, I don't have the Mighty Mouse. I've got the one before it, I guess. Then I also got another older one that I don't know. When I bought my monitor, I got another one, but they're just I don't know. Plus, this one's wireless, so it's like I can move it around a little bit better.
What are your thoughts on like the Mighty Mouse? Is that, I mean, do you get like this idea beyond the simplicity of it or whatever?
I don't know. They're all right, I think. I mean, some of them are shaped kind of weird, where they kind of hurt your hand a little bit after you use them too much. I don't know. You just get used to a form factor. And it's like I like what I like. Don't have to get another thing.
Yeah. Me, I gotta have more than one button, man.
Yeah, the back and forth are nice, because, like, when you're browsing a web page, it's like, click, 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 click. Try to explain that to my dad, but he's just, like, for some reason he figured out that if you right-click, you get that little back menu, but, like, I just started teaching him how to use the arrows on the browser, so it'll be a while before he really understands the back and forth buttons.
Yeah, I got a wireless mouse that has like 10 buttons or something like that, where I have it mapped like one button is like Alt tab and one is Control tab, so one will cycle between tabs and like your browsers or whatever, and then one will cycle between like your windows,
Yeah, I've seen those.
I can go from program to program too,
Yeah, I mean I've got that stuff. Like there's a couple buttons on the Cintiq that are touch pads, and I've got the tablet has a touch strip, but it only kind of half works sometimes. Like you have to make sure that the thing is highlighted, and then sometimes it just won't recognize it, and it's like, no, I'm not lifting my hand off the mouse and scratching at it like some sort of savage. I don't know, some people when they get the Cintiq, they're like, oh, I've got to get one of those like gaming keyboards so I can have my express keys set up, and then no. No, sweetie, no, that's too much work. That's I don't know. But anyway, this is all nerd stuff, and this is the last show of 2014, guys. Are you excited to be ringing in the new year coming out fast?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, you going to some parties? Yeah, it's been a while since I've been to a New Year's party. I think it was like 2010. I don't know. Like, we're not in the aughts now, we're in the teens, right? Because, like, when 2000 came, for like 10 years they had, 9 years, they had the thing where you can wear the glasses with the 2 O's for eyes, but now they've got 1 O, and then the 1 is kind of to the side a little bit. Like, that's stupid. It's so trying to be the 2 O's, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. So, anyway, playing catch up.
It sucks that Doug couldn't make it on tonight.
You just wanted to wrestle him to the ground in trivia and steal his belt. A belt that will fit neither of you. Because I'm sure that's like a child-sized play belt, or like just a trophy belt that nobody actually can wear. Oh, man.
It'll like fit our legs.
It's like when you decide to be Batman for Halloween, but you don't take the time to actually find a Batman costume, so you go and get a little kid's costume and your arms stick out the sleeves. Yeah, man alive. I don't know, man. So anyway, 2014. What are your guys' thoughts on the year? I think this should be a nice looking back at the year, and because I was doing some stuff looking on I wanted to try and draw up some, baby New Year and all that stuff, to try and do some stuff, fill up some stuff on a shop, and I was looking into it, and it's like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's baby New Year and Father Time, And I'm like, is that really Father Time, or is that just the older, the previous year's baby? And then it's like, I start thinking about, like, isn't it kind of weird that we kind of sacrifice a baby for a year? To like, okay, that was last year. That baby sucked. Let's get a new baby. I'm still 1 year old. I don't know how to go to the bathroom by myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what were your guys' thoughts on 2014 as it comes to a close?
It was a good year. We got a hoverboard. We got some nice stuff out of this year.
Because remember, we're all supposed to be dressing like, Griff Tannen and... Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some expectations next year, that's for sure.
Yeah, they gotta make a whole other, 15 Jaws movies or whatever? Oh,
no, they gotta make a whole nother Back to the Future world, man. I mean, I want my Pepsis in that look like glass vials, and I want my, like hoverboards without needing a metal surface, and then
yeah,
and then then you're gonna start wearing your pants inside out to be like the kids, and then it's funny because the '80s are making a comeback, just like how they're like, oh, it's like those '50s places that aren't done too well. It's like, hey, that's pretty much exactly what we have now. Everyone's wanting the '80s back, man.
And I think the Autobots have to come back to Earth and, take over, and then there's going to be a war on Cybertron or some stuff next year.
Well, then is Shia LaBeouf going to come back for that one? Because I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, we are getting another Terminator, so do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. I mean,
I showed my dad that. He was surprised, man, that trailer for that.
What did he think? Did he, it's like, oh, they're obviously, what's going on, and then once that bus shows up, it's like, hey, guess what, we're not doing that.
Yeah, well, for him, it was sort of kind of confusing, He just, I guess, generally thought it looked cool, I guess,
Yeah, at this point, that storyline's over, so, I mean, unless you want us to, as long as they throw out as many surprises as they can, I'm fine with it, because at this point, they're just, let's make something new. And some people are mad. They're like, oh, they're just trying to make another franchise. Well, what do you want them to do? Like, seriously. It's like getting mad when the castaways on Gilligan's Island get rescued. It's like, well, what are they supposed to do now? You want them to get shipwrecked again on the same island? Convenient.
They did.
I know, on the show. But then they've done it on the movies several times. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, when they made Gilligan's Planet, it's like, that's so stupid. But at least it's something different, kind of. I mean, at least it's not, hey, it's Gilligan's Island again. There are some shows where they're just rehashing the same show idea. I don't know, man. I don't know. But 2014, it's been an interesting year. I'm not going to say it's the best, but I'm also not going to say it's the worst. I've had crappier years, and I think, some people want to say it's been all that bad, and... Some parts of the world it has been, and some parts it hasn't. Seems I'm reading a lot of government protest news stories today. News here and there. There's another government protest, and I think that's a good thing. People having opinions about their government, because no government's perfect. And I don't know. I mean, it's just I don't know what the thing is. Like, okay, government protests about a bad government are good, but I don't know if the people protesting it are. Wanting more democracy and freedom, or if they're wanting a stricter, dictator in charge. It's like, I don't know who to root for in any situation until I read up on the matters, so. I don't know, man.
Yeah. For me, 2014 just seemed like 2013, man.
I think it's evolved a little bit. I mean, at least it wasn't like 2008, 2004. Oh, man. Oh, what a mess there.
It was so 2008.
Well, I mean, 2008 was the, the recession hit, and, if you look at most economic reports, they're like, basically, we're about back to where we were, pre-recession. It's not great. Not everyone's like, yeah, we're doing, Bill Clinton era, surplus and everything, but it's like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, you ask people about that though, and a lot of people are like, "Oh no, man, it's still terrible. Things are still terrible. Everything, the world's gone to pot." Like, really? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But then, of course, I don't think anybody really cares until 2016, when the next presidential election, and we're going to be hearing about it. I mean, basically, I figured we'd hear about it from after Obama got reelected until 2016. We're just going to hear, so who's going to replace him? So who's going to be the next one? Who's going to be running? Are these people running? I don't know. Are they going to be... It's like, we're not going to know until a good, 6 months before, well, okay, maybe a year before the election we'll have an idea who the front runner is going to be, but that stuff can turn on a dime, man. I mean, remember when Hillary was going to be the next president?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of talk about Elizabeth Warren lately. I think she might, there's a lot of talk about people wanting her to run. It's like, well, I mean, not a lot of enthusiasm for Joe Biden running. And,
right. What about you, Nate? Who do you think you're going to go for?
Maybe I'll run for president.
Oh, you're going to run for president, huh?
I don't know. I really don't know.
He's got to get a committee together, and he's going to be like Chuck Hagel and announce that he's going to have something to announce later, and then become what did he become? He was Secretary of Defense. So, yeah. Fun times. I don't know. My dad's been all up in arms about the whole, gun control thing or whatever. He's like, oh, I don't care if they're against gun control, I'll vote for them. And, like, really, Dad? Or are you just acting this way because someone from the NRA called to get you to rejoin and talked a whole bunch of stuff in your ear? I was asking him, like, give me specifics on what he's doing. He's like, oh, he's getting rid of the Second Amendment. Like, no, he's not. Now give me a real thing, or I'm just going to think you're being silly. Oh, man. But yeah, 2014, I mean, most people at the end of the year are just like, well, another one's over, whatever. And I like to take stock of the year and see, if I got closer to where I was going and if I have a little bit better of a roadmap. Like, this month has really been a lot of sitting and analyzing and trying to think, okay, what can I do to actually make some money next year? Where do I have to go? Which dark lord do I have to worship? I mean, sacrifice my goats too. Yeah.
Well, when you were cutting in and out, we were talking after the show last week. You were saying something about like it's hard for you to make money because it's like you can't just go and do this and get it done and then you get paid for it or whatever. Weren't you saying something like that?
Well, I mean, it's like you and I being creative people, we kind of have to hustle and we have to, do things. It's like if we, when you make art, unless you get that art commissioned by somebody, it's like somebody says, hey, can you do this picture for me? All right, I'll do that. It's basically, I have to, if I write a book, it's like I have to make sure that I try and either pinpoint an audience before I write it or just really hope that it picks up after I do. So, it's a lot of hit and miss. It's like, hey, how about this? No, okay, that one failed. Okay, how about this? No.
Yeah. Whereas Nate is more of the type of person where he would want... It's probably easier for him because he could just make... he has a product and then you have an audience that wants to buy that product,
Yep.
They just sell it.
Now tell us what you do, Nate. You're a pimp? Okay, cool. Okay, all right. Well,
no, he'll
You flip stuff.
he's a flipper.
oh, okay.
He'll flip his own grandma.
So do you run? Does he run an eBay store kind of thing, or does he just go to the pawn shops all day?
Oh, I wish there was pawn shops around here.
Yeah.
Besides,
He wants to get his vendor's license or whatever. Is that
yeah,
what
I
you
want to get a vendor's license this year.
Yeah, I had one of those when I was trying to do conventions, but I never made anything to put anything on it. Which is nice. If you don't make anything, you don't have to file, but if you don't make anything for 3 5 years, they're like, hey, guess what, you don't need this license. Like, well, gee, thanks, guys. So, I don't know. Making stuff. Vendor's license. Plus, their website is... the state of Ohio's business website for paying your taxes is so ridiculous that there's so many they add stuff in as like this line of text, like, oh, by the way, this doesn't work. Oh, by the way, you need to do this way. Oh, by the way, these counties have this or that. And it's like, all this stuff that they can't be bothered to put on an official thing is just tagged like footnotes. But it's like, I'm trying to send them money. It's like, you don't take certain credit cards? Well, what if that's all I have? It's like, oh, I would be the one that would have to deal with the legal ramifications of that? How convenient. Oh, you sent me to a link that's dead. That's not a good thing to have on your site when I'm trying to pay things.
Yeah. Well, it's just like that. I was talking to Nate last week about Marks, because there's a store called Marks right next to us, and they only take Discover cards or checks or whatever. And I have a debit card or whatever that's Visa, MasterCard, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like they have an ATM machine there, and the reason they do this is because, I guess, to save money, because if the store were to use a wider variety of cards, then they'd have to pay the fees or whatever for them, and I guess they get some kind of free deal with the Discover. But my thing is I think they're not really thinking long term, because if people like me that have other cards, I take, say if I need to buy a few things, if I take out a 20 out of the ATM machine, I have to figure out a way of trying to budget myself when I'm walking through the store, so I don't have to take out more money. So I have to make sure my price fits within that $20. But if I was just using my card, I would probably be out more to just keep sliding and just be more on a shopping spree.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things with how places have certain deals set up, like if you go to a restaurant, they usually have either Pepsi or Coke, and usually it's the chain will have the one, and I mean, I've been to some places where they're like, we've had trouble with this one product, and we're going to be changing over to the other brand. It's like, well, that's kind of renegade, and I don't know how I feel about that. It's like, these places usually serve Pepsi, and I'm used to having Coke. I don't know. I haven't had Pepsi or Coke in a long time, though, so the only soda I've been drinking lately has been Baja Blast. Mm-hmm.
That's nice. But hold that off for a sec. I was going to say, Nate also, he was talking about, he hates the fact about what were you talking about last time about eBay?
eBay raised their fees from 6%, 3% from eBay, and then 3% from PayPal, because they own PayPal.
Well, that sucks too, but no, you're talking about the fact that you have to have a certain rating to sell over 10 items on eBay.
Oh yeah, they limit how many items you can sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
And it's like, you would think they would, if they let more people be able to sell more items, they would get more money since they take a profit.
Well, I mean, I can see the different angles of that. Like, it might be a quality control kind of thing where they expect that higher sellers would need to have better, a higher rating, so that would guarantee that people that kind of just do it whatever. Yeah. Right. I mean, I've been doing this weekend. I was looking at different print-on-demand sites, looking at the different policies, and you look at your cafe presses and your Zazzles that'll print whatever on anything. They don't care. And then you get to Society 6, and I saw people complaining. They're like, oh, it's free to use the site, but then, to verify your account, you need to spend $1 at PayPal. I don't know about that. I'm like, $1? It's like, to verify your... I mean, I kind of don't understand that, because you should just be able to enter your info. Why do they need to verify? Okay, it's you. Really? Should it matter? If I'm saying this money to somebody else, that should... I don't know. But... I don't know, you do notice a difference in quality from site to site. Like, I was going to Redbubble, and it's like, that's where you see a lot of the, a lot of the copyright violators, or, people that are kind of the mashups kind of stuff, where it's like, okay, we took, one of the guys from Voltron, and now he's on a Power Rangers sword for some reason, or It's like, or here's Brian from Family Guy with Scooby Doo. It's like I don't know. It's
Monster Mash.
But yeah, when it's free reign for anybody to do anything, people freak out. I guess. I mean, people do stuff, but like the qualities can vary. But then like if there's one little barrier entry, people throw a tantrum, but the quality does kind of, I don't know. I was going somewhere with this, but then we got derailed, and I had a nice lunch. It was good.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, you mentioned about the Baja Blast. I finally got a chance to try that lemonade game fuel. Come on, dude, it's pretty good. It's pretty much lemonade.
I guess that's better than an Arnold Palmer, I suppose. I mean, I never understood the idea.
Oh, you don't like the half and halves, man? I love those, dude. Well, I like the Lipton half and half.
It's just like, those are two different drinks, man. I'm like, why would I do this? Because, like, I like tea, I like lemonade. And if somebody took half of a glass and half the other glass and poured them in one and said, have this, I'd be like, what are you doing? It's like the kid that takes Pepsi and Mountain Dew and says, guess what? Look what I did. I'm not drinking that.
Well, my stepmom, she likes sort of making like a quasi ginger ale type thing where she mixes like Coke and Sprite together.
Well, whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
Loves it too, man.
I mean, I made a new board on Pinterest recently because I've been trying to collect non-alcoholic cocktail recipes because I don't like alcohol, but I love to drink. And I've been realizing, like, man, I just want some juice, I just want, like, a nice, like, if there was a juice bar around here, I would be lost there. I'd be there all the time. Like, I don't drink alcohol, but I, like, if there was, like, a good virgin martini recipe and a place that would serve it to me, I'd take that all the time. I don't know.
So, like, what are those called, those?
Mocktails?
Like a Coke and Siemens or whatever.
Oh, Zima.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Those non-alcoholic beers.
Oh man.
Like most alcohol drinks, well, I don't know about most, but a lot of them they taste like shit. But I mean, that's not really the point, I mean.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I like drinking juicy, like, I don't know. I need to profess my love for beverages. I usually have a beverage of some kind, either an apple cider, or an iced tea, or a lemonade, or something. I drink a lot. So I'm glad I never got a taste for alcohol.
Your day?
Yeah.
When you're, like, working on stuff in the office?
I have a big drink just sitting by my monitor all the time. And I'll just constantly be sipping at it. Which, we used to have these huge glasses, and it's like, you could have like a small glass, regular glass sized amount of liquid in there, and it's like, well, I gotta tap this up, tip this up. I gotta pour a whole other bottle in there. So it's like, after a while, you've had the same glass for a while, like, you keep just refilling it because it's almost gone, and it's like, I shouldn't be doing this. This drink is gonna get old. Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember I was at the dentist and what do you call those ladies that are at the dentist? They prep you for the dentist.
The oral hygienist?
Yeah, I guess, but the lady there, she was like, yeah, that if you're gonna have a drink, you're supposed to, like, just have a drink and then that's it. It's bad for you to constantly just, like, sip out of a drink really slowly throughout the day because I guess it's bad for your teeth. If you're gonna drink it, just finish it all in one.
Yeah, but then you have all that fluid sitting in your stomach, and then you go pee it out. It's like, I don't know. Plus, I like clearing my throat. I like to have something to drink. Because my throat gets dry, especially during this show. I need to have something. I talk a lot, and I need to clear my throat. I'm a horrible person. So anyway, but yeah, I've been doing a lot. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna ask Nate. What are you a big fan of just drinking in general? Do you drink a lot throughout the day?
Sometimes.
Huh. Whenever I come to your apartment, it's like doesn't seem like you have a whole lot of drinks there.
Yeah.
I don't know. What were you gonna say, man?
Yeah, I've just been spending I spent my weekend doing a lot of business idea, like thinking, okay, who is my audience? How would I describe, that's the thing, I need to talk to other people and ask them, how would you describe what I do? Because I don't want to just show up and go, hey, here's a picture of what I do, isn't it awesome? And have them go, what is this? No, everybody's done, why? What? Nobody likes this, no. I need to get a person's read on my stuff, because you can convince yourself of anything if you don't have anybody to bounce off ideas off of, or, we've all seen the echo chamber of people that only believe one thing and they tell each other the same thing, and then they go out and talk to the regular populace, and it's like, oh no, nobody believes that but you. And
what about you? Do you have people I thought you had people to talk with online, who's that woman, that lady that's from Chicago or whatever, I did a couple podcasts at the beginning with you.
I know a couple people from Chicago, and I know a couple people online. It's just, I don't know. I don't have as much of a dedicated conversation base as I did back in the day. It seems no matter how many people you know and get to know over your years, it seems a lot of people get busy, and it's like you have somebody that used to hang out with every other weekend, and then became every couple of weeks, and then it became once a year. It's like people just get busy, man.
Yeah, I know that. I'm sort of going through that with my friend Mike, man.
Oh man,
it's crazy, man. Well, it's just I don't know. The problem is I guess I try to call him at nights and during weekends and stuff, and I know he's busy, but it's I try to compare him way his responsibilities are to my family, where my parents have they have a bunch of kids and dogs and stuff, so they should be way more busy than my friend, man. I can't even get on the phone. I mean, you would think somebody would have 2 minutes to answer their phone and talk to somebody,
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I never want to try and compare how busy other people should be, because then people start doing that to you, and it's life gets away from people. I try to be very forgiving with people, because I'd rather not be the person that goes, now you said we were going to hang out, but if you're really that busy, man, I guess I can't, I'll let you go, But some people also like to monopolize other people's time, and you have to be able to guess when somebody's dropping hints that I don't want to really be in this conversation anymore. I've got other stuff to do. I mean, I'm being polite, but yeah. So yeah. I don't know.
Well, I do have to admit though, it's I did ask him recently about if he talks to or hangs out with other friends his other friends lately, and he said he really hasn't. He's it's just him and his wife now, so it's geez, man, I don't know if that's his own decision or if that's sort of his wife's. I'm not gonna assume anything with that, but
I've had plenty of friends that they get married, and it's they spend all their time with their wife, and then they go out and hang out with their wife's family and their wife's friends, and then and a lot of people, they have to some guys that they have to do you ask them, hey, what can you do this or that with me, and oh, I gotta go ask my wife. Really? You gotta ask permission from the boss? Okay.
Well, it's I made a vow to myself that when I try to find somebody, I'm gonna try to find somebody that's not gonna try to change me and lets me live the life that I would want to live, and not make me stop talking to friends or whatever, because those types that sort of do that, they change and mold and twist you and stuff.
Well, I mean,
I don't want somebody like that, man.
Well, I can see that, because there are people that were oh, I love this person, I'm going to change them and make them into what I want. But
yeah, make it to my own.
But I mean, let's be real. When most people say, look at ourselves when we graduated college. We were oh man, I'm never going to do this, or I'm going to be like this, and it's life happens when you get out of school. It's I've had the thing where I look at people I knew in high school, and it's they don't look at the same at all, or oh, they had a whole bunch of kids and now they've totally changed. My mom talks about people, she reconnects with old classmates, and she's I remember that guy. He looks so old now. I can't admit it. I'm like, you were in school like what 30-something years back. You know, it's like it's a while. People change, man. Life happens. You know. I mean, look. I mean, look at you. I mean, you and I, man. We lost touch for a good 10 years. I mean,
yeah,
that's weird. I don't know.
Some people you could tell like their whole self image has changed. You know, like the way they dress and their hairstyles and stuff, and it correlates with like since they've been married, and I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes it can be a good thing, man. I mean, sometimes you knew a guy in high school and he was crazy, and then you reconnect with him years down the road, and he's like, had some kids and settled down. Like, yeah, no, I'm not that crazy anymore. I was an idiot. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts,
Nate?
Nate?
Yeah, are you gonna, if you get married, do you want to make sure you can still be yourself?
I want to be able to be myself, but like, I also want to become like a stronger person. So if I get married to somebody, I want them to help motivate me to become like a stronger person in the areas that I should grow in. But like, I don't want to abandon my friends and my family because they're important to me.
That's another thing. I'm sorry, Nate, but I have relatives where ever since they got married, that we don't get to talk to them anymore because they're married and their wife doesn't really like our family that much, And I just think that's really effed up, and I just hope that never happens to me,
Well, I mean, you never know, man, because, I mean, when you're in that relationship, it's like that person, in your eyes, might be, oh, this person accepts everything I do, it's great, but then it's like the people that you kind of care about, that you still kind of hang out a lot now, they might just not like them, and you might not notice not hanging out with them anymore. And then, you're suddenly out with your wife's friends that you kind of like a little bit more, Life happens, man. I mean, there's things we all don't want to do and things we would like to have happen. And there's some stuff we can actively change, but then some stuff, man, it's like it sneaks up on you. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't be bored of the tired old movie plot of like, I'm never gonna change when I get old. Oh no, I'm old now. Everything sucks. Really? You didn't see this coming? Oh man.
Plus, we say that, but we probably all know that if all of us found like some really hot supermodel, we would probably be like their manslave.
I don't know, man. I've never really been like the hot, like supermodel kind of dude. I don't know. Like there's a line like when I see like certain celebrities that a lot of people are like, oh man, aren't they just smoking hot? I'm like, they're pretty. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's my internal barometer of like, yeah, this person's out of my league, so why be interested? Like, that's not going to happen. I don't know.
Yeah. Have any other thoughts about that, Nate?
I don't know. If I met somebody and then they're like, well, you're going to need to get rid of all your video games and like,
Yeah, get rid of these toys here, Nate.
Get rid of these toys. I'm like, wow, it's like, you don't care about anything that I care about, and why should I do the same? They don't care. Like, I understand, like, if you don't have a ton of space and you need to have space for them too, and like in a house but like if they get rid of all of your stuff and like they don't even ask and they want you to change all of your friends and you can't hang out with the people that you care about and your family, it's like, why are you in a relationship with them? Are you really benefiting that much? I
mean, we should really stress though that like this isn't just like women doing this. Like there are dudes that'll come in and there'll be dudes that'll come in and say, "Well, hey, you should stop hanging out with all your man friends because I'm the only man you need in your life, baby." Like, no, shut up. Yeah, there are people there are controlling people. There are people that they'll get in a relationship with you and try and push you like, well, we've been dating for about a year, so shouldn't you be proposing to me about now? I was like, what? Shouldn't we be moved in by now? They'll have expectations, and it's like, no, don't try and push someone into a relationship. Never try and guilt somebody into a relationship, men or women. Don't do stuff like that. Guilt is not a good thing to base a relationship on. Neither is revenge and spite.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, folks, be good people.
Yep.
That's the motto of the
Right.
show. So anyway, I think we probably babbled enough for the pre-show. I think it's time for this week's news. Don't you agree, Ian?
I agree.
Yep.
The news with Ian. I'm sorry, I've heard that music so much, but now, for some reason, when I hear that, I just think of, like, the local high school sports team coverage. The local news. Like, just see a bunch of guys running down the line. Like, this week, they're going all the way.
Yep. OSU. OSU's going all the way.
Boo them chains. Defense.
Yeah, it's time for news. Have 5 articles again, like I usually do every week.
Are you screen sharing with us?
No, I'm not, sir. Hey,
No, I'm not. I'm totally in my underwear.
would you
I'm
like me to
sorry.
Screen share.
I don't know. You've been doing that lately. I figure it might be good for the audience. I mean, the folks listening at home on the recordings can't see, but
Yeah. Which, by the way, have you ever thought about it? You host the audio files for this show or whatever, but would you ever think about hosting the video files, or
No.
are you just gonna keep it all on YouTube?
No, I'm keeping that on YouTube. That stuff's expensive. Because I'm on a shared host. An audio file is one thing that's easy enough to download. Video, no. that's insane.
How much space do you pay for?
It's on my. I don't know exactly. It's technically unlimited, but really that's like unmetered, I guess. Like, it's shared hosting. So I'm sure if I started doing video, I'm sure they would start going, hey, no. Can you pay for some dedicated hosting, man? You're screwing everybody over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this first article I thought was interesting. This one is about Illinois' passed a bill that makes it illegal to record the police.
Also, there's a video playing. I'm just saying, I want to hear you and not hear the guy over your shoulder going, "You should buy the Samsung Galaxy." Well, all right. Ow! My cat has gone insane. Behave yourself, buddy. So, ow! Ow! Alright.
Yeah, Floyd. Okay, this one is about a new bill passed last week in Illinois would make it a felony to secretly tape any private conversations, with steeper punishments for those who surreptitiously record the police. Critics of the proposed law claims it would scare citizens from recording interactions with law enforcement following a number of high-profile police killings caught on camera.
Well, yeah, because there's actually legitimate reasons in the news now of, hey, we should be able to record, the police should have cams, and now somebody's saying that the people shouldn't be able to record them. That's not a good thing. Saying, oh, hey, we shouldn't stop the next Rodney King just because you shouldn't have your camera on. No, you just shouldn't be misusing police power.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it says the bill was passed by both State House and Senate and sent to Illinois Governor Pat Quinn on December 4th. It would criminalize secretly recording private conversations between 2 or more people where at least one had a reasonable expectation of privacy. However, the proposed law would likely not make it illegal to record police interactions in public. Recordings like those depicting the death of Eric Garner would therefore not be affected. New bill attempts to protect people from Stereotypous. How do you say that?
Stereotypiously?
Stereotypiously and improper recording of their conversations without infringing on free speech rights and its sponsors claim. So, I mean, the thing with this is, when, like, if a cop pulls you over, you know, and I guess they're saying that it's going to be, that's like in private then between you and the police officer or whatever. You know?
Yeah, this is going to have a hard time standing up to any court challenge. This is, even if it passes, which I have no idea if it's going to get signed, you know. So, I mean, it might just get vetoed, which it should. From the sound of it, anyway.
And this would end up being a Class 3 felony. Which, I'm not really too sure about the different classes of felonies. I think the lower the number, the worse it is, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. So...
Yeah. Do you have any opinions on that, Nate?
Yeah, like, don't they have, like, dash cams and everything? And, like, what's going to protect the citizen now? Like, why do the police even need to have a reason for them not to be on recording if they're not supposedly doing anything wrong?
Well, I just see that since this is going on in Illinois, which is a state that has all kinds of issues, so I expect we're going to be hearing more about this one. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, it says, one example of when police might have a reasonable expectation of privacy might be an officer meeting with a confidential informant. He said, if the two left the bar and went into an alley to avoid being overheard during a private conversation, they would have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah, but what if they're sitting there taking bribes? Then shouldn't somebody be recording it? I mean...
Well, yeah, well, I mean, the thing is like, if you're recording, I guess, and somebody's is committing a crime, I think it makes it null and void, you know?
Well, yeah, but that's only if it comes out that way. You know? Yeah. I mean... I don't know. I mean, that whole thing with that whole thing with the choking, you know, that choking case recently, where the only person that got indicted was the person that filmed it. So.
Yeah. Well, I know various states. It's state by state if it's like a one-party or a two-party thing, where like some states, both parties have to know about it, or some states just only one has to know about it or whatever, you know. So, I definitely don't agree with it myself, you know. And I don't think any of us here would think that, because I mean, think that it's a good thing to prevent that, because it's like, I mean, sure that you could have dash cams and, you know, these police cameras and stuff, but I think the police, the mounted cameras for the police, I think the officer could like turn that on or off or whatever, you know. And I mean, like, if it really was like a corrupt officer or whatever, you would find a way of you not being able to get it or whatever, you know.
I don't know, man.
That's why you need to have you need to. It should be allowed to be able to record them if it's in public, you know.
I just think right now this is a real hot button issue with, you know, interactions with the police and in the public, and so I expect this to be, we're gonna hear about a lot more about stuff like this. So,
so wait, how many years would you get for Class 3 felony?
I think it's like around 5, something like that.
5 years in prison.
Yeah. That's a felony. Felonies, you get some serious years for felony, man.
Yeah, I don't expect this to hold up too well when the ACLU and other people actually start dealing with this one. So what's our next hot topic this week, Ian?
I'm sorry, I'll just try to see if the article does mention anything about the potential years you could get from that. Oh well. You could always look up felonies and you could wiki it, you know. Hey here. Pardon me. Okay, this next article I'm gonna link in the chat here. This one's about Skype translator previews for real-time chats. This one's about Microsoft rolls out their first public preview of Skype's instant translation service, which is initially available on Windows 8.1 PCs and tablets. So I guess this is pretty much like a thing where you could have a real-time translation, you know, between languages and the Skype chat, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, eventually we're going to have to get to that point. So.
Yeah. It'd be cool if you could, like, if it translated, like, in the text, like, what you were saying, you know? But that'd be, like, really hard to do, probably.
Yeah, because we've all used, what is that, 9 key or whatever it is, where it's like, guessing what I'm typing? No. Why would you assume that from that? No. Oh, man.
Yeah, it says that the new feature translates conversations both ways in near real time. Skype Translator will display an on-screen transcript of the call, and it ultimately will translate instant message chats in more than 45 languages. Initially, the preview is only available for 8.1 PCs and tablets. Microsoft is expected to make the service available across a wide variety of systems over time, though. So.
Yeah, someday we'll have that universal communicator, you know. It's like, hold on, he's speaking Chinese. Boop, 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 beep. Put the babble fish in your ear.
Yeah, well, that would definitely would prevent the need for having like a translator next to you, you know.
Well, I don't know, man. I think it'd still be a good thing to have, because, you know, it's like, you know, oh, we don't need a tech person here during our web conference, and what? What do you mean my webcam doesn't work? Like, can you imagine going, okay, we're talking to this big foreign investor in Japan, and, uh-oh. For some reason, it's not translating.
Yeah. Well, this brings me to the question, though. Like, what do you think? Do you think separate languages are a good thing, or do you think we should try to find like a universal language where that's?
Well, I mean, let's be real honest here, real quick. Other countries speak English better than we speak other languages. Yeah, let's be real honest about that first off, because English is kind of a national language, you know, that a big chunk of people speak. But I mean, even between, you know, say Americans and people in the UK who speak English, they're saying it different. There's other meanings to things. Pants can mean trousers, or they can mean your underwear. That thing that you throw refuse in, is it a trash can, or is it a bin? It's like, I don't know. Is it aluminum or aluminium?
Yeah. And the letter Z is Z, I guess.
Well, that makes sense. You know, did he say C? No, he said Z. Okay, that makes sense. I can understand that. I mean, something, you know, some European and, you know, non-traditionally American things, you know, make sense. Metric system, yeah, that makes sense. Why don't we use that? I don't know.
Right. But I mean, do you think it would be a bad thing, like if we had a universal language and, you know, like all the other languages were just purposefully banned or purposefully forgotten about, you know?
well, banned, that's not going to happen. I mean, you'd have to have one, world government for that kind of thing to happen. And then there's the argument that other languages should exist and thrive for cultural aspects, Like, I was reading an article a while ago about this one guy in a certain island over in the UK somewhere, that, like, that they had a local dialect, and he was the last native speaker of it, and they actually had to come to him to start writing down what some of the things he was saying were. And then he was like, well, that's a weird dialect that doesn't exist anymore, and I mean, it's a cultural heritage thing that, like libraries, when they got microfiche came around, and it's like, well, let's get rid of the newspapers now because we can just put this on microfiche, and then all the libraries got rid of all the old papers. And then it's like, well, hey, now we got these internets, this computer that can take high-resolution photos of the newspaper. What do we do with it? Well, we threw them out because we got microfiche now. So now all we have are these crappy scans and photos of these old newspapers. And it's like, I think of it as a cultural heritage thing. The languages shouldn't die because they represent things. And there's some stuff that are more eloquently spoken in other languages, for different reasons. I mean, English hasn't always been the main language, and there's a lot of, it's not all that good now. There are some things we don't have, words for Schadenfreude, or certain other things that, I don't know.
Well, I remember I was sort of off topic, but I remember I saw this one thing on, I think it was the Science Channel or whatever, about this guy that was able to he can use some kind of algorithm to figure out what a person is saying in a language that's not really known. So he used an algorithm to find basic things that a dolphin was trying to say from the pattern of clicks and stuff, and he said that it could be used to find figure out what aliens are saying or whatever, just by the because if it's totally random, you're gonna some kind of basic language or whatever is gonna have some kind of patterns in the words and phrases and stuff, I guess.
It makes sense. I mean, that's how the idea of the translator is that it finds what they're trying to say. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Nate?
Right.
You mean on just having one language, or the translator?
Well, anything really. On the situation.
Well, there are some languages like Greek and ancient Greek, they have a male version and a female version for every word. Now, if you just translated it and then you translated it wrong, the way it was articulated on paper, the real translation just got lost, and that's not really what they meant.
Well, I mean, anybody that's read seen any iteration of the Bible, it's like, oh, hey, you've got the King James Version. Well, he changed a lot of the passages about women to mean servant, and they very clearly weren't. And, it's like, that's what happens when the person that's doing the translating has their own agenda.
Right.
And, there's just some stuff we don't have, is a chair male or female? Well, we don't really talk, use it that way. We express other things. But then there's some stuff, some things that are appreciated in other languages, and some things that work better in the American language. Some humor that works really well. That's why, when the Bible was being taught for a long time, only the priests and whatnot could read it, and it was written in Latin, which the common people didn't read. And then Gutenberg and the Gutenberg Bible and its, translating and all that fun stuff. I don't know. I just always agree with the idea that more and different iterations are better, and much more stuff becomes more homogenized to where it's we only have one language, and we only go to really one restaurant, and we only have one kind of movie. It's I like variety. Even if it's something I don't understand, I can appreciate it. I think that's why, anime or Japanimation or whatever it was in the 90s, that became what it is now. When that really broke out, people were like, oh, it's different, it's a different culture, and they understand, there's ticks to it that are different than American stuff. And it's the same when you see things like, Indian cinema, or you see stuff from Spain, or, see things from other cultures. It's you appreciate what they see in it a little bit different from what we see in it.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Well said, sir. Moving on to the next article here. This one is sort of a downer, I guess. This one's about the 25 best movies disappearing from Netflix on New Year's Day. It says, at the stroke of midnight, or somewhere around then, on New Year's Eve, while you're sloppily waving goodbye to 2014, dozens of movies will disappear from Netflix streaming. The good news is you've got plenty of time to plow through them before the great vanishing. Here's a list of the very best that won't make it in 2015. 12 Angry Men, A River Runs Through It, Backdraft, the 1989 Batman movie, Big Trouble in Little China, Beverly Hills Cop,
Aww.
Boys in the Hood,
Aww.
Braveheart. Damn.
They'll never take our freedom.
The 1976 Carrie movie, which I don't care about that. I like the newer one better, anyways. Duck Soup, Gladiator. That sort of sucks. Oh no, Happy Gilmore.
No.
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 No. Hotel Rwanda. Good riddance, I guess.
Ooh.
Kramer versus Kramer. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Never saw it. Love Actually. Manhattan. Oh, Rocky IV.
I like
You
Manhattan.
like the Rocky movies? Oh, you like Manhattan? That sucks, man. What about Rocky, Nate?
Oh, I've seen that movie. That's a good movie.
Roman Holiday. Oh, Spaceballs. That sucks.
What? No.
Is the Spaceball series staying on?
It's
That'd
on
be
from a
great.
separate tablet, so.
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club.
Aw.
Yeah, that sucks. Oh well. The Grapes of Wrath. Never saw it. The Longest Yard. I guess that was pretty popular. Never saw it. The Usual Suspects. That one was pretty popular, but I didn't see that either. And Tombstone. So you could, all you Netflix users, you could just kiss those goodbye. You're gonna have to buy them somewhere else.
Well, they do this every year, and movies get taken down and put up on Netflix quite regularly. That's why they have a new releases section. It's just, I don't know. Some of those seem a little like, really? Happy Gilmore's going away? That's a pretty popular watch for a lot of people. I don't know. Some of those are good movies I don't think enough people watch. Like 12 Angry Men is legitimately a really good drama. I mean, I remember reading it in English class, and we watched the movie, and it's like, I genuinely would sit and watch this on its own. So.
Well, what movie on that list are you sad about, Nate?
Happy Gilmore, obviously.
Yeah, Happy
And
Gilmore, I would agree.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, that sucks too, definitely. And you were saying Manhattan for you, Ben?
Well, I like Manhattan. I mean, I like Manhattan and Annie Hall are probably my two favorite Woody Allen films. I mean, we had the discussion, I think, on the show of, separate the artist from the art and all the scandal and stuff, and previously, like, well, they're still good films, It's just, yeah, I don't know. Manhattan's a good movie. I mean, don't know if I'd call it great. It's an interesting watch.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple others you mentioned on there. I think other people would enjoy. I mean, I still need to see Duck Soup, but then again, the last Marx Brothers movie I watched, I was like, wow, I'm really far removed from what they were doing at that time. I guess you gotta be in the right frame of mind to admire it these days. But I do like older movies. Hotel Rwanda, I remember when that came out, and it was kind of a big deal, and I've been meaning to see it. I mean, I don't know. Gladiator, I recall, didn't the guy who played Johnny Cash in Walk the Line get hired because Johnny Cash saw Gladiator and said, yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why they do that, though. I mean, these aren't exactly like... These are more of like timeless movies, you know. It's not like they were popular for 2014 or whatever.
Well,
let's
not pretend that this is what Netflix is doing. I'm sure this is a licensing issue. I'm sure the people that have licensed Netflix to watch these are like, hey, we're going to raise our rates. You can't have these movies anymore. We're going to dispute with you over this. So, yeah, I'm sure this has nothing to do with Netflix pulling stuff. I'm sure Netflix would like to keep everything up forever.
I wonder how expensive it would be for a company to have a perpetual license.
Well, I mean, honestly, you know, the quality of movies you're going to get, it's probably prohibitively expensive. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, plus, let's be, you know, honest about it. You know, this is why, you know, a lot of Redbox Instant, they couldn't even compete with Netflix. So it's like you would have to have more money and power than Netflix to get a perpetual license. So,
well,
I know Netflix is picking up a few series that got dropped.
Well, yeah, they've been doing that. They've been doing that since the Arrested Development one. Like they come in and, you know, it's weird when a show changing networks, like, you know, American Dad moving to TBS. It's like, really? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Netflix originals are getting pretty good too. You guys haven't checked any of those out?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I need to check out some of those, man.
I still need to watch BoJack Horseman, because I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard people that really, really like it, and other people are like, it's alright. You can get kind of bored. And, like, I don't know. I need to form my own opinion. I don't know. It's another thing to watch. I need to clear my schedule.
Yeah.
It's the holiday season for us. Make time with the family and get through your Netflix queue.
Yeah. Well, how much would you pay for, like, a Rosetta Stone of media, so to speak, where you had access to, like, all the movies and television shows that were ever made?
Well, it would be worth more than cable. You hear that, cable? I'm calling you out. I mean, I think Netflix and Hulu are worth more than cable, and they charge you considerably less than combined. Yeah. So that should say something. Say something. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah,
calling you out, cable.
What?
Come on.
The problem. Yeah, I need to get rid of my cable, man. But the problem, though, is with a lot of these streaming services is usually one has what the other doesn't. Like one has the newer, one has the older, one has more of a selection, you know.
Yeah, because sometimes
you to fit them together, you know.
Well, like, you know, when you're cruising Hulu and it's like, what do I feel like watching right now that they have? Oh, some weird European film, okay. You know, and it's like, on Netflix, well, do I want to watch, well, they don't have the first movie, that they have the third one. Well, I guess I could watch that. You know, it's like, certain things, you know, Hulu has the shows, but then, like, they won't have, like, the first episode for whatever reason. It's like, come on now. Would you not? Why would you not want to have the first one so people can get in on the show? I don't know.
Well, what they should do is here's an idea for you app people is somebody should come out with like some kind of like an aggregator or something so you could where it'll add the shows together between the services that are available. So
they already have it.
Well, what's it called then?
Oh.
So like
I think it's Do They Have This or something.
So like if you know like Netflix has like season 1 or 2 of like the Blacklist show or whatever.
Well, I mean, you can.
Hulu has season 3, so it would just add them together and then just get rid of like duplicates or whatever, you know.
Well, there's a thing that you can do for like XBMC that'll pull in Netflix and Hulu shows, so you can add them to your library the same way. So technically, it would be pulling in both libraries, but you have to pay like once, I guess, to get it, or it might be a monthly thing. I don't know, but it's still, it's doable. It's just I don't know. I don't know, man.
Because it's just like, well, if you have like everything from both Netflix and Hulu, it'd be nice. So it's just nice to have like one-stop shop for everything, you know.
Well, it'd be nice.
Yeah, but
it'd be nice if you could just pull up one thing, like, hey, I want to watch Tron. Boop, there it is. I don't have to go through everything.
Yeah.
But if they had that, they could easily have a monopoly, and then they could charge whatever they wanted for it.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess
And then you have to charge. Then you have to pay better for a faster internet connection, and then you have to pay more for this or that. Oh, it appears Ian broke the show again. His thing likes to crash on him. Welcome back, Ian.
Are we back?
Yeah, let me just.
Yes. Sorry, I accidentally opened up the news article in the window.
Yeah, you got a screen share for us, so we can look over your shoulder. As long as we're talking about Hulu, I tried watching a movie on Hulu recently. They made a movie about the early life of Walt Disney, and I was like, oh, this is totally something I want to watch. You know, a guy who starts an animation studio, and in early 20s Hollywood and all that stuff. Like, that sounds great. And it's narrated by, I think, Travis Tritt, and I don't know why. And it kind of makes me think of, like, for any point in time, he's just going to go to the mic and go, well, those Disney boys got themselves in a whole mess of trouble. Stay tuned and find out what happens after this commercial break. Yeah, but I don't. The reason I couldn't get very far in it is the acting is very bad. Like, I mean, I don't want to, I think it's a low budget production. I don't want to just come out and say, oh, the acting's horrible. But it's like it's distracting enough where I can't watch it. Like, I thought it was just the kid actors. And I give them a lot of leeway. Like, they're just on set, they're just trying to get, say their lines. And it sounds like they're reading them rather than acting, which I can understand. But then the adults start talking, and it's the same thing. And I'm just like, I can't watch this, I'm sorry. Oh, man.
Okay, this next article, this one's sort of a funny one. This one's about this rickety bridge between two high-rises in China can't be legal. It says, we've seen some pretty incredible ad hoc architecture on China's high-rises. This all-pine rooftop mansion should jog your memory, but we may now have a challenge for craziest illegal addition, a bridge built between two different apartment buildings built by and for a lone resident. According to the Chinese news service CRI, the addition connects two high-rises in Nanning, a city in the south, about 250 miles west of Hong Kong. This corridor connects two buildings in a residential district, but was built and used by a single owner, says CRI, adding that it causes a safety hazard to passers-by walking below. Meanwhile, Design Boom points out that such a structure would be dubious during a typhoon, not to mention the monsoon rains, of which subtropical Nanning gets a bit. Shanghai says the bridge isn't even open to other residents. It's for one owner and one owner only. So this guy has like a corridor between two apartments that he owns. So he bought two apartments and then somehow built like a bridge between the two.
Oh, rich people. Because I would want to say, oh, China, but no, that's oh, rich people. Although you gotta realize, if that guy is wealthy enough to have two apartments in high rises and stuff, it's like, why didn't he just get a bigger area? What? Why is he
Yeah,
doing
no.
that? That looks a little rickety at that point. But
I
then
would just
again,
like
I guess if you got that rich, you're being, you're being frugal, so it doesn't surprise me.
I would just try to buy two apartments like next to each other if I could find them, and then just knock down the wall and pay for whatever damages they are after I leave.
Well, who's to say he doesn't have like an entire floor to himself already?
Yeah, I know. I just thought it was funny. What do you think, Nate?
So, like, is it two balconies connecting, or did he like knock down a wall?
Yeah, I think he knocked down the windows. They probably two windows facing each other, like straight on, and then he probably knocked down those walls and windows. But I was curious how is this guy like did it himself, or if he hired some kind of construction crew, and why wouldn't the department like, hey, what's going on with this? What are these construction people doing here? We didn't hire them,
Well, I don't know, man.
I don't know either. It's interesting though. You think people would do something like that in America though, just because they're rich, like you said?
Well, people do all kinds of illegal additions to their buildings. I know plenty of people that have built patios and put porches and stoops and all kinds of stuff that wasn't coded. It's just,
Well, apartments is definitely you could. That's crazy. I mean, you shouldn't be adding on, but I mean, houses I could see, like, especially if you're on the middle of nowhere or whatever. It's like, just let them build their patio or whatever,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing about apartments, especially, like, what's going to happen if that thing, does fall on if a storm does hit, and that somebody else,
Those people
somebody
are
else
screwed.
says, yeah, it's like, it's all for that one dude. Well, hope he's got the money to pay for it if if somebody gets injured, so whatever. It's like
I'd
that.
also be curious about. Oh, go ahead.
It just makes me think of that photo I've seen of those people hanging out in the pool and they've got an extension cord floating on a sandal and together, and it's like,
Yeah.
yep, you just sit there and enjoy that till it
I'm just curious, is like, is it just like a cold, drafty hallway, or do they have some kind of like space heaters in there, and they set up some furniture in there or whatever,
I don't even know.
Because if it's just for you, you'd want to utilize that extra space, then,
I don't even know, man. I'm sure to him that this all makes sense. It's like, oh no, of course I've got to have my whatever, and then, I'm sure as soon as whoever, somebody like, obviously the cops don't care in that area, or but I'm sure if somebody says something like, no sir, you can't do that. 'Cause some people just have never been told no, which is great.
Yeah, let's just that. I mean, this can be common in different countries where you see things where like, oh, this might be illegal. No one's really paying attention or whatever. I mean, so some countries it's perfectly legal to pirate stuff.
Yeah, well, if the people making the laws don't care, or the people enforcing the laws don't care, what you gonna do?
Yeah. So, anyways, go on to news. Biggest one of the evening here, because I had something specific I was reporting about this, and then Nate brought something else up, which was the more popular story, but the one that I have was sort of popular too. But have you heard about the Sony stuff going on with Sony right now?
Well, we've talked about it before, haven't we, with the leak recently, and then there's that certain emails got leaked, like Joel McHale from Community talking about trying to get a discount on a Sony 4K TV, or Channing Tatum sending out an email to people after 22 Jump Street went big, and he sent out this this crazy copy-pasted email with like a paragraph just so.
Yeah. When Nate had a couple things he wanted to say before I go on to my specific article here.
I did.
Wait, didn't you?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, what?
Oh, just like they leaked people's like social security numbers and stuff. Like, and I heard that they leaked like Conan O'Brien's, and I don't know if this is true because I don't have facts in front of me. It's like that a CEO is gonna have to step down because they had a racist email.
Well, that's the fun of when there's leaks like this. You know, sometimes bad stuff does get leaked, but then, you know, sometimes, hey, let's shine a light on this scandal here. So.
But, anyways, this one is specifically about one of the leaks about the secret meetings that set Hollywood's anti-piracy war plan. And here on the tablet here, okay, this one says every year legal representatives from 7 of the biggest movie studios in the country gather in Sherman Oaks, California, to talk about all things anti-piracy, which isn't surprising. It's their livelihood after all. But what does leave a sour taste in your mouth is their plan to spread the DMCA dispensing gospel, which shadowy backroom deals and skewed facts. It says, according to an email in the leaked inbox of Sony Pictures General Counsel Lee Wheel, the meeting is facilitated by the Motion Picture Association of America, the MPAA, as a way for the top lawyers at Sony, Time Warner, Viacom, Paramount, Disney, NBC, Universal, and Fox to put their heads together and talk global strategy. And this article describes what exactly is in the and what are some of the highlights are. It says scale up number of notices, but keep spending on education to a minimum. And the translation says send out as many takedown notices as humanly possible, but make sure the people receiving them don't necessarily know what any of it means. They'll be too scared to question it. Be cautious about communications on site blocking. Continue building a record of success where possible, but avoid over communicating and drawing negative attention. Translation: block as many sites as you can without anyone ever finding out. The MPAA will continue to refrain from commenting when asked about the issue of use of VPNs and other technologies to gain online access to content consumers are otherwise restricted from accessing in their geography. Translation: if we pretend VPNs don't exist, no one will find out about them. Keep a low profile, i.e. do not actively seek press coverage, everything else, etc., to avoid making the debate about the content community or copyright protection. Translation: seriously, don't let anyone know what you're doing. On network neutrality, most member companies supported in principle a narrow, low-profile MPAA filing focused on opposition to the regulation of content. Translation: we are going to file an opposition to net neutrality and just kind of hope no one will ever find out, likely similar to the one filed back in 2007. And perhaps sleaziest of all, where site blocking is actively under consideration, make available research, 1, that site blocking works, and 2, that it does not break the internet, lack of side effects. Do this in closed-door meetings with policymakers and stakeholders, but not necessarily publicized to a wider audience. Translation: in secret private meetings with government officials, where absolutely no one can call you out on your bullshit. Show them research that conveniently makes every point in your case. No one can know. And there's that.
Yep. I mean, does this surprise anybody? I mean, this is like when that whole price fixing scheme got out. It's like, well, are you surprised? This is.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Nate?
I'm not shocked.
It's it sucks, but it's funny, sort of at the same time, just the way they translate it, you know.
It's like in the cartoons where they have like their top secret base and then it's in neon signs.
Yeah. Secret base here.
Secret base here.
Yeah.
Top secret.
Well, it's like your
Open
dad
now.
would say, you know, we're not mad, we're just disappointed. Like, come
Disappoint. I am disappointed.
on. Oh yeah, no, this stuff surprises me. It's just, you know, I don't know, net neutrality. I just keep thinking about that guy talking about like, oh no, because if you have a fast lane doesn't mean you're gonna have a slow lane. It's like, how? That's physics and that don't line up, man.
If you have a fast lane, you need a slower lane.
well, yeah, but like if everything's
Well,
sunshine, puppies, and kittens, you know,
see.
it's like what's everybody else getting?
Like, well, you see, the thing is,
Separate
Sit
can
down
be
and
equal,
shut up.
right? The thing is that separate can be equal, right? We'll just have these dial-up users go to certain drinking fountains, and then the broadband connectors go to these nicer fountains over here. Oh man.
I just think into the future, one day we'll be complaining about, man, I'm tired of my 56 gigabytes a second.
Well, I mean, think about it, man. Imagine, you know, if you have a computer that's like 10 years old, imagine trying to watch, you know, Netflix on a machine that, you know, back in the day, YouTube was a weird thing. It's like, whoa, you want to watch like 10-second videos? I don't know if I can handle that. No, we're watching entire shows and movies. I don't know about
I have old
that.
computer games that they're like, are you sure you want to do the full install? This is like 200 megabytes. Warning, this
Yeah.
could break your computer.
I love when it comes to like going full screen. They're like, "Oh, are you sure you want to change the resolution?" Yeah, I'm cool with it, man. Oh, I don't know, man. We're not gonna go this way.
Well, I hate when you can't find, like, if you want to download like an executable or program or whatever, but it's like you can only find the ones where it like when you click on it, it downloads from their server or whatever, instead of you having the full redistributable program, you know.
Well, get used to that, man. Nobody wants you to have the things.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like there's more and more coming out because of the interwebs of just like corruption in the world, man. I mean, to a certain degree, I can't blame some people for being more of like anti-establishment type people, you know.
Well, I mean, I think it's just a good thing that now, you know, more and more people have access to be able to get at these things. So, like, you know, it's like doing a crime in your neighborhood without wearing a mask, but you think, oh, I signed another name so nobody knows that I did it. It's like, no, people were there. People know. It's like, now the internet knows, and now we're sharing it. Because look what you did.
Yeah. What do you think, Nate? Is there... Shit's getting effed up, man. Huh?
Yeah.
Should be crazy.
I don't know. I mean, compare it to, like, you know, another recent news story, man, was that whole torture thing by the Senate's report coming out.
What are your thoughts on that? I was actually going to ask you about that as a side thing, I guess, but I wasn't sure.
Well, it was interesting to see the ghost of Dick Cheney come back and come with the people that are against the report. It's like, well, it's interesting that he should come out of his, you know, deep hibernation, come out of his cryogenic slumber, and come in and go, hey, well, you know, we did what we had to. And it's like, I think now most people. I think the thing is, America. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans are still cool with doing torture because it's not as insanely pro doing it as as it was in 2004. If you were like, hey, we shouldn't be torturing people we capture. Oh, well, there might be a ticking bomb. But it's still, even today, if you're flipping through channels and you land on Fox News, and the first thing they start with, well, we're at war. Well, that's nice. If we're at war and we say anything goes, now our guys are going to get captured and what all these things happen. It's like, shouldn't we have a standard that we don't do this, and shame on you for not living up to our expectations?
Well, what's the problem with torture?
Well, quite a bit. It's morally reprehensible. It produces false results and it makes us look bad and standing in the world. A lot of things. It's actually counterproductive to doing things. quite a number of things, Ian.
Oh, you mean you don't want to go back to lopping off people's head with guillotines and stuff?
Well, that was just, you could talk about the French Revolution, where it was just basically, I'm in power, slice, no, I'm in power, nope. It's like, yeah, that sounds...
Back then, I remember watching a show about some of the contraptions that they had for torturing people back in the French Revolution. What was that thing called where it's like a metal mold, and it has spikes on the inside of it, and they close.
The Iron Maiden.
The Iron Maiden,
yeah.
yeah.
The Iron Maiden thing.
Yeah. Well, remember, the spikes are placed in such a way that they won't kill you, but they will make you bleed and then slowly die. So you slowly bleed out rather than immediate death. So,
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with all the points that you made, and I just wanted to first judge what your side on it was first before I was going to say my side, and it's pretty much the same thing. You don't have you really can't get 100% accurate results from it.
Well, I mean, it's counterproductive to the means, and really, we want to think of ourselves as the good guys here. Should we be force-feeding people anally? Because that kind of happened. And should we have people interrogating and that threaten to slit the throats of detainees' mothers and sexually assaulting detainees? Should detainees with broken hands and feet be standing for days on hard concrete? What? Guys, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even think if we were in an all-out World War III, I don't even know if I would support torture then, and just having a war on a couple little groups.
Well, I mean, it's just the whole war that we've been in, with terrorism is basically, it's a lot of small, camps of groups. It's like there's not like when we went to Iraq, it was like, oh, we're going to go to this one government, we're going to totally throw the dictator out, and we're going to make everything better. It's like, no, this isn't like getting rid of Hitler, because all that did was make it a much nicer hotbed for all the terrorists that swam in there and caused a whole lot of civil war and training for more problems. So that was great.
I don't know if I really don't. I think a lot of these wars on words is what I would call them. I don't know if they really make a whole lot of results, good results come out of them, like war on terror, war on drugs, just war on general things. It's they're not. Then it's just going to be an endless war. Then it's oh, we're going to have war on world hunger.
Well, I mean, the problem is, it's well, there's always going to be terrorism, so unfortunately, if you define it as, well, this is a war on terrorism, it's well, it's a never-ending war in that respect. If you're going to, because there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like us and wants to get us, but it's if you have to have specific enemies, Al Qaeda and other things, the Taliban or what you have to have particular groups, because if you just say, well, anybody that doesn't like America, because that's what happened during the last presidency, was if you're not with us, you're against us, and it's oh boy, you're just it's things need to be complicated, and you need to be able to say, well, we're particularly after this one group because we can't perpetually stay at war in certain areas, just at full strength. It's not what the military-industrial complex is about. I don't know. Well, actually,
what do you think about the war on drugs? Do you think that's just another?
Well, that's a joke. That's like saying the war. That's like saying the war on piracy at this point. It's like, what really, drugs. Like, people that want to do drugs are going to do drugs, and really, rather than making it a horrible crime and locking people away, we should be making it so that the people aren't getting drugs that will kill them, or making it so that people who have overdoses can get treated better without running a risk of being afraid of going to jail. And in most places when they decriminalize and cut down the social stigma of using drugs and make it just a thing, it's like, you can deal with the issues and impact of it, rather than, oh no, we don't talk about it. That doesn't exist because good people don't do that. Shut up. The real people do things. We need to address what happens in the real world, not the idealized world. Some people want to see it,
Yeah. Now, I probably don't need to ask you, but since you're more of a religious type person, Nate, I'm sure you're probably against this too.
Against what?
Against torturing.
Well, yeah, it doesn't get anything, because, they could just lie.
Yeah.
Like, if someone made you go through a miserable experience, that doesn't always motivate them to help you out.
You mean putting bamboo sticks in underneath people's fingernails doesn't get answers?
No.
Well, I've heard stories that some places some people want to torture suspects, and other people it's like, well, if you're nice to them and give them cookies, they'll gladly give up information. They're like, hey, you guys aren't that bad. Here's what's going down. Like, that sounds rather interesting.
I don't think either necessarily work.
Well, I'm just saying
100%. I'm saying 100%.
Well, I'm just saying people are more likely to tell the people that are torturing them what they want to hear, so they stop the torture, not usable information. It's like, okay, you got me. Here's the bomb. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way,
Right.
Right. I think what's interesting too is I think they said those lie detectors tests, those aren't even admissible in court. Did you know that?
Well, no, because all they do is detect different, variations in your heart rate and certain other things that, people who lie, this happens. It's like, well, there are people that can sit in a lie detector test and totally ace it because they don't, they know how to either cheat or they just don't have the tells that the machine does. So it's like, you might be lying. No, we can't tell if he is or not. Well, then what? How should be legally binding?
Yeah, I don't know. And so, adding on to what I said earlier, I just think, like I said in A before, I just think things like the war on terror and national security has become more of excuses for things. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. In some respects, it's just upped our thoughts of common sense. It's like, now it's like, if somebody leaves a backpack in an airport, hey, that's suspicious. I should report that person because that's not something you do. But back in the day, man, although it's interesting, I saw a headline the other day that said that the TSA this year they collected a record number of people that had guns and handbags and carry-on. They didn't know. They either didn't know that you couldn't bring it on the plane, or they just forgot to take it out of their carry-on. It's like, well, what do you expect to happen when you show up with a revolver and you're carrying a bag at the airport?
Yeah, I think it's funny too. Did you know that pilots, they're not allowed to have a gun or whatever, but they can be trusted to fly an airplane that's containing a whole bunch of people in it?
Well, be honest. I've been on planes where you get on and you walk past the pilot. Do you want him to have a gun in his pocket and some guy goes, hey, guess what I got? No. I don't know. When it comes to gun regulations, some people will think, oh, everything would be better if everybody just had a gun. Then what? Are we on the honor system? Like, okay, I trust you not to shoot me because I got a gun too. How does that work? I don't. More guns is not an answer to me. Because I'm all for more people getting educated on how to properly and safely use guns, but putting more in circulation is not an answer for me.
Right. But I think the thinking is more along the lines of, like, you know, you have, like, a certain expectation, like, with a lot of the, you know, like, the superpower countries having, like, nuclear weapons. I mean, it's like, you sort of expect, hey, let's not blow each other up, you know? I don't know.
A lot of people want to, like, they have that idea that they're going to be the guy that, oh, if I just had a gun during this attack, you know, it wouldn't have, like, you know, there was a story about a guy in a mall during a mall shooting, and he said he was glad he didn't pull out his gun because he might have either A or B, you know, hit somebody else. He didn't know who the shooter was, and he might have shot a regular person, and also it would have made him a suspect when the cops come in and he's holding a gun. They might shoot him. So I don't know. But some people, they're like, oh, if there was just one guy who had a gun, like, yeah, that's the answer, just some guy. But then if you're a black guy and have a toy gun, you get shot. That's yeah.
Hey, do you have any rebuttals or any thoughts about that, Nate?
I don't think they should necessarily take away the guns, just like saying everybody should have one. Not everybody should have a gun, because not everybody is responsible.
Well, I'm not saying take away guns. That's the thing. A lot of people are like, they want to take our guns. It's like, no. I've always been in favor of better, you know, if you want to have a gun, you should be able to pass a background check. I don't want to have somebody that went, you know, killed a bunch of people, got out, and he can easily get access to a gun, or somebody who has, you know, a record of mental illness and gets access to a gun and shoots up another, you know, Navy base. You know.
But I will say this: criminals don't follow laws, so.
Well, yeah, but that's one of my dad's big arguments. It's like, oh, criminals don't care if you make it tougher to get guns. Like, well, yeah, so by that logic, we shouldn't have laws? Because criminals don't care if murder's illegal, so why don't we just get rid of the law saying murder's illegal, guys? Well, why don't we get rid of the law saying marijuana is illegal first? You know, I don't know. I mean, when I talk to my dad about gun control and stuff, it's like, well, here are the points that people, you know, make. Should you have to pass a background check? Should you have to wait to get a gun? Should you only be able to get, you know, should the average person have access to rounds that will go through a building? Well, no. You know, most people will agree to the things if you talk about it, but everyone gets whipped up in the whole, oh, they're going to take our guns. Like, no, just don't give everybody military-grade weapons.
Maybe they should crack down on illegal gun sales and make it, like, stiffer penalties.
Yeah, it's not
going
to happen.
Probably. Oh, yeah, I know it's not going to happen.
Well, no, the NRA doesn't give an inch because they're afraid if they give an inch, well, next thing you know, it'll take a mile.
An inch is a mile, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the NRA. I don't know. I mean, it's like we had one guy tried to blow up a plane with his shoes, and we all had to take our shoes off the airport now. How many times do schools get shot up, and yet we don't have any form of gun control? I don't know. I don't know, man.
I mean, gun control, I mean, if you're not really gonna... It's highly polarizing, you know, the gun control. That's probably the most highly polarizing, you know, like, amendment, I guess.
Well, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, people should have access to owning a weapon, but it's like, if you're gonna have one, you should, you know how to use it, know where the safety is, know how not to play around with it. No, you know, there's stuff I'd expect people to know.
Right. Well, I think like the arguments about gun control stem from like what the people think that the reason for it originating is, you know. And I think that It's debated a lot too. Why do you think we should have guns, Nate?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I know, like, that they've reduced the amount of, like, rounds that you can have in a certain magazine, but as a result, now people are going to get better at aiming, and if, let's say, a criminal aims better, they're going to take down way more people than if they just fire randomly.
Well, let's be realistic, Nate. People aren't going to get better at aiming. They're just going to get more magazines. That's all that's going to happen.
Right.
And then people are going to find ways around to get more on the magazine anyway.
Right. Plus, also when they're like, okay, a 30-round magazine is going to be illegal now, they go on sale. Like, heavily discounted. So.
Well, it's sort of like, like the drug thing. It'll just makes people want to go.
People will find a way around it either way.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's the people that want to raise a stink about everything. I mean, you can't have a real discussion about anything because suddenly, no,
Right.
That's our country.
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna have if we have Doug here too, maybe we'll have a political episode where we do like 10-minute mediations, on a certain topic, because some can like spiral out of control, be like, oh, time's up, on to the next one, next topic.
Oh, if we could keep this show on a time system, that'd be a thing in and of itself. It wouldn't even have to be a revolutionary, topic. So that, it'd just be getting us on a schedule. Holy crap. Anyway.
Well, I just mean because the topic would turn into the whole episode then,
Well, that's our show. But speaking of things rolling out of control, isn't it about time for me to whoop your guys' butt in trivia?
Yeah. I mean, unless you have anything else to say about just like generally, like with the New Year's and stuff.
I say I'm going to see you in the ring, brother. I'm going to take you down to Chinatown.
Well, I never asked you, Nate. Do you have any New Year's resolutions or anything?
Yeah, well, I want to get that wholesale license.
You want to get a wholesale license?
It's easier to make money with a wholesale license.
I don't know anything about that. But I mean, what are your goals? Like, do you hope to have like? I mean, I know you want to buy a 3D printer or whatever, but
yeah,
that might help you make a little bit of money. But I mean, do you have like some kind of roadmap or something? Where do you this time next year? Where do you think you're gonna be?
In that high rise in China, going from one building to the other.
Jumping on that bridge and it'll be like, this bridge is sweet. Ah!
Yeah. That's like the wind starts picking up when you're on the bridge. Oh shit.
Well, what are your goals, Ian? What are your plans and hopes and dreams for the new year?
Well, my main goal is to start selling some panoramas, and hopefully I'll make some kind of money from that. I want to get a 3D printer too. I'll start doing stuff with that. Maybe collaborate a little bit with Nate on some stuff. Maybe we could sell stuff together. Maybe it'd be cool to have like a 3D print shop, like service or something,
Yeah.
or like a print store.
Nate and printing, aren't you? You didn't bring up the goal of having your own podcast.
Yeah, we can't.
We're stuck on the name.
We're stuck with the name, man.
Everything is taken.
Well, that's when you just go to the big name generator. It'll be like that episode of Roundhouse where they're like, the Leaky Mules. Okay. That's what we'll name our band, the Leaky Mules.
Yeah, we'll just have a word, like a random generator where you set like how many words it is, and then it just puts random words together.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know, man.
Like we'll have it. What was that one? Wasn't that like a Rage Against the Machine album or something like chocolate hot dog flavored water?
No, that was Limp Bizkit. Chocolate
Bizkit,
flavored. Yeah. No wait, chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna be the name of our podcast.
And the last thing I heard, any of them were doing. Fred Durst directed that "Are We There Yet" sequel, I think. And then there was that dude from Creed who kind of went kind of insane. Had some sort of breakdown. His wife was saying that he was saying he was from the CIA and that he was supposed to assassinate Obama or something. And yeah, it's I don't know.
Yeah. Which, by the way, speaking of the CIA, me and Nate were talking, man. I've been trying to give that show a really good try, man. That Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, and it's just turning out to be like a CSI, CIA type show. You know, there's really not much like them fighting anybody with superpowers or anything. It's not really that much of a comic book type thing, you know.
Yeah, I've heard it. Some people are like, "Yeah, it gets boring, but then it gets good again, but then it gets boring," and I don't know. I mean, I heard it was really tied into the Winter Soldier movie, so I don't know.
Well, it's them pretty much going up against like the who is it called?
Hydra.
Hydra, yeah. It's them just going up against like a similar agency, you know, and it's sort of like, what did I say it was sort of like?
CIA versus CIA.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
You mean
it's
the
just,
Kremlin?
Well, it's
So
sort
it-
of
so
like
it's
G.I.
like
Joe with CIA agents, you know,
Okay.
fighting Cobra.
G.I. Joe,
Joe.
Agents
G.I.
of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of interesting, things on the pipeline. They're making that Suicide Squad movie. They're doing a Black Panther movie. They're I don't know, TV shows. There's going to be well, let's see. There's Arrow. There's that Flash show, and then I think there's supposed to be. There's rumors of.
Was it Gotham something?
Well, yeah. There's that Gotham. There's Gotham, and then there's talk that like Sci-Fi wants to do a Superman show like Gotham. I'm like, so it's basically Smallville with a chance of Sharknado. I'd be down.
or it'll turn out to be like the Adventures of Lois and Clark.
It had its
That
moments.
was when he was grown up.
I totally watched that show.
Well, I mean, how can
totally
you not,
watched
man?
that show?
I watched some of it. I can't remember much of it at all, other than it was goofy, like most shows at the time. So,
Dean Cain, man, he was a pretty slick guy, I guess. You know.
yeah, it was all right. I mean, he was one of those guys who, like, he had his chance to be a leading man. He had that show, and he did a few other things. And then
I
he
liked
came
him
and
for
went.
the Believe It or Not, Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
I mean, I guess he was sort of well-rounded. There wasn't really much he could complain about, but, I mean, there wasn't much you could say really good about him either, though.
Well, he's one of those guys that I'm sure, like, if you're a hardcore fan of his stuff, like, great, but, like, guys like that, or Joe Rogan, yeah, it's like, they have their show that they're known for, but they never really got off the ground with any big property, No.
It's the Joe Rogan Podcast.
I don't know, man. That guy is just on so much weed. So much weed.
He is, man. He's, like, really spiritual, and he's pretty out there, man.
Well, some people are just really into, their thing, but, like, he's one of those guys where I've heard him talk about, like, he goes into those sensory deprivation tanks, and then he's like, he goes, he's like, I've been on other worlds, I've felt the wind and touched the grass, man, it's a place, I've been there, and I'm like, or maybe your mind was just like, I have nothing to do, here's a pretty picture and show. I have nothing to go on, I'm going to make some stuff up. Because I've had, I've fallen asleep and had weird, crazy dreams and woke up and go, oh man, what was I doing in Frankenstein's lab? I don't know. And my mother wasn't a Klingon. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems so real.
And you were there. And you were there. You weren't there.
Screw you, Scarecrow.
That's
Oh.
Yeah.
But Scarecrow's got a gun. You've seen that in the... You seen that gif going around? Or, like, who gave Scarecrow a gun? It just shows up and then it's gone.
Clayface, man.
I don't know, man.
But it's crazy though, because it's like people say, yeah, if you ask somebody, hey, do you like yourself? Are you in touch with yourself? And they say yes, and it's like, well, you don't really know until you spend you go into some sensory deprivation where it's just you and yourself, and it's like you end up going crazy. You probably start doubting yourself and hating yourself.
Well, it's like with anything, man, if you live in your own head too long, like, I spent the weekend, trying to figure out business plans, and it's like I start off the morning thinking, all right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to study this thing, and I'm going to nail it. And after an entire day, you're like, well, everything I thought I knew is kind of falling through. Maybe I don't know anything. I'm a sham. I'm going to just go sit in the corner and rock and cry a little bit. So, I don't know, man.
What about you, Nate? Could you spend, if you had to go to prison or whatever, how long could you spend in, the hole?
Oh, you mean in my own head?
Yeah.
I'm
or
there
just,
all
hole where
the
you're in
time.
the dark
It's messed up in
by
there.
yourself.
There's 5 Nates.
Yeah,
You
I
go in the
don't,
hole.
I don't know. But yeah, we've talked about, my goals for 2015 are to, stabilize my business, do things. I've been doing things more productively, probably the last, I want to say the last half of the year, I've really been figuring stuff out and getting more productive. I'm we've got this podcast going regularly. I want to start posting on the site a little bit more often after the holidays are over. I'd like to get a shop up and going, and I'd like to start, have some prints and have some, merch to sell, and then I'd also like to have some films done. That's really what I'd like to start doing a lot of stuff regularly. We'll see how that pans out next year. So you achieved nothing this year. Nope, pass the bottle. Glug, 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 glug.
Hey, let's see some feature-length films, man.
I didn't say anything about feature. Shoot, man, come on now. You start your panoramas first, Ian.
Yeah.
You come back to me about anything.
Well, that's a little bit more achievable than a feature-length film. I mean, that's if you do an hour and a half, that's how many frames of drawing is that? That's crazy.
It depends on what how it's done, man. I could do it all on 4s, like Bill Plimpton, but then I'd also have to be. I admire the man, but I'd also have to be insane as well on my day drawing. Which, I don't know. I'd love to do that. I'd really love to be the guy that could just draw every day and have a blast doing it. But my mind, man, some days I'm really want to work and draw, and then some days it's like, I really want to write something. And then other days it's like, I want to try and figure out business. And then I want to learn to code. And it's like, brain, you have to do this right now. I don't want to. You're not my real dad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to be productive and get things going. I've been trying to sit down and figure out, what are my short-term goals, what are my long-term goals. I'd really like to plan out, 5-year plans, 10-year, make something more solid and actual numbers and stuff. So we'll figure that out. Anyway, it's trivia time.
Yes, it is. It's some trivia.
Yup.
Word.
Yup.
Word to your moms. Yeah, trivia.
Cha-cha-cha.
Trivia! Wanted to change up that last one. Trivia! Anyway. Alright. In 1994 and 1995, Atlanta Braves starting pitcher Greg Maddux had back-to-back season ERAs of under 1.80. Who was the last starter to accomplish this feat before him? Was it Walter Johnson, Cy Young, Nolan Ryan, John Smoltz. Ian, what are your thoughts?
Oh.
I'm gonna say A.
Hmm.
What are you gonna say, Nate?
I'll go with C because I know who that is. I don't know if it's correct. I just know that guy. Not personally. I just know of him.
I'm going to go with Cy Young, just because it sounds familiar for some reason. The answer, Walter Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Ian's trying to defend that belt that we stole off of Doug, and we're trying to steal back. What basketball statistical term was basically created to accommodate the phenomenal skills of former Lakers star Magic Johnson? The single-triple, the over-under, the triple-double, the double-double. This is me, huh?
You got a potential red herring.
Well, the over-under is a move, not a statistical term. So it's either the single-triple, the triple-double, or the double-double. Let's see. Statistical term. Phenomenal skills. Double-double, triple-double, single-double. Single-triple. I'm gonna go with the double-double.
Oil in trouble. What about you, Nate?
Yeah, I'll go with the triple with cheese.
You want the Yumbo? We just brought that back.
I'm gonna go with the single double.
You mean the single-triple?
Yeah.
Alright, so either way, somebody's gotta get... What should be the over-under? What? And the answer, the triple-double.
Yeah.
Got it.
This is just randomly going around. We might as well just be spinning a wheel and go, what's the number going to be, guys? In 1999, Marshall University's football team defeated what former national champion team in the Motor City Bowl? Nebraska, Brigham Young, Miami, Florida, Penn State. Nate?
Penn State. I've heard of them.
Ever heard of Miami, Florida?
Think? Maybe?
You ever heard of the city Miami?
There's this one time.
Welcome
Maybe?
to Miami. Ian, what are your thoughts?
You go with Brigham Young.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Sounds
say.
relevant.
I was gonna say Brigham Young. I think they've had a national champion team. I don't know though. It's a shot in the dark. And the answer, Brigham Young. All right, I'm coming for you, Ian. I'm coming for that belt. Need to hold my pants up.
To earn it, buddy.
Yeah, you gotta earn taking your belt off. What's going on? In boxing, there are 3 main organizations, each with their own belt. To be an undisputed champion, you must have all 3 belts at once. What are the initials for these organizations? Is it the WBA, the WBC, the IBF? Is it the BAA, the WBA, the BBA? Is it the TBC, the IBF, the TBA? Or is it the BCG, the WBC, or the BBA? WKRP in Cincinnati. Boxing. Alright. So, I believe...
This is me. I'm thinking. Gonna go... I think I'll just go with A.
See, A has too many W's for me. When it's W, World Boxing Association, the World Boxing something else. So I'm thinking it'd either be B or C, maybe.
Actually, Doug would probably have known this one.
Well, boxing's a little bit different than wrestling. I have no idea if he'd know anything about that. BA and BBA sound a little too similar. Like, I think I don't know. But then again, WCW and, WWF were do different things for a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with D.
Wait. Pick a letter.
C.
C.
What should be B? Alright, and the answer... The WBA, the WBC...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so Ian got it. And watch people that know boxing acronyms are sitting there going, "What's wrong with you? Obviously, it was the..." Oh, well.
I knew IBF was International Boxing Federation, I think, and then probably World Boxing Championship, but why did I pick C?
Because there are too many letters, man. It was confusing all of us. I mean, wouldn't it have made more sense to say which one of these isn't one rather than guess them all? None of us would be champions at this point. Alright. What coach has led his team to the most Super Bowls? Don Shula, Marv Levy, Chuck Noll, Dan Reeves. This is me, huh?
Football. Yeah.
Well, I know nothing about the Super Bowls. I couldn't tell you who played the last one. I can't tell you who plays the next one. Can't tell you anything about coaches either, because I really don't know or care that much. I'm gonna go with Don Shula, I guess.
I'm gonna go with Chuck Noll. Sounds familiar.
I'll go with D. Keanu Reeves.
Dan Reeves. And the answer... Don Shula. Oh, yeah. Pulling an answer out of my butt sometimes brings me the right one. Oh, yeah. Name the top 3 Major League Baseball teams in 1999 according to their regular season win-loss record. Alright, listed 123. Okay. Was it Arizona Diamondbacks, New York Yankees, Atlanta Braves? Or is it New York Yankees, Atlanta Braves, New York Mets? How about Atlanta Braves, Arizona Diamondbacks, New York Yankees, or Atlanta Braves, New York Yankees, Cincinnati Reds? Me?
B?
C is in cat?
I said B.
B? Or D? What is it, D?
Sure, I'll go with D instead.
D? Okay.
No, wait, B.
I'm gonna go with B.
Okay.
And what are you going with, Ian?
I'm gonna go with D, just like Nate.
Wait, I said B.
Okay, I'm gonna go with B then.
So we're all going with B, huh?
Yep.
Because nobody wants to lose, huh? And the answer... Atlanta Braves, Arizona Diamondbacks. See, I thought it would be the Mets and the Yankees. I don't know. Who was the MVP of the first NBA All-Star game? Elgin Baylor, Minnesota. Bob Cousy, Boston. Ed McCauley, Boston. Wilt Chamberlain, Philadelphia.
I think I'm just gonna go with that. Oh, like seeming like it's the easiest of this.
Which one?
D. Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, I was going to go with Wilt Chamberlain as well, because he's the only guy I know. What about Nate?
I'm gonna go with B.
B.
And the answer... Hey, Macaulay. Man, we so dumb. Okay. U.S. female gymnast Mary Lou Retton scored 2 perfect 10s on the vault to secure the all-around gold at the 1984 Olympic Games. Where were the games held that year? Atlanta, Georgia, Rome, Italy, Los Angeles, California, Moscow, Russia. This is me, huh? 1984 Olympic Games. Trying to think now. Checking my memories. I'm gonna say Rome.
What are you gonna go with, Nate?
When in Rome.
And in Rome. I'm not gonna go with when in Rome. I'm gonna go Moscow.
And the answer.
Reshnikov. Moscow.
Well, I was 2 when this happened, so the answer. Los Angeles. That was my second guess. It was either Rome or Los Angeles. So couldn't remember though. During the year 2000, which 2 NFL stars went to trial on charges of murder? Mushin Muhammad and Jamal Anderson, Trent Dilfer and DeMarco Farr, Randy Moss and Aaron Beasley, Ray Carruth and Ray Lewis.
That's Nate.
I don't know any of these people. I'm gonna go with A.
You might have an idea on Ben.
See, this is before I paid any attention to the news, so I'm gonna say Randy Moss and Aaron Beasley. How about you, Ian?
You go with the Ray Lewis one. So D. I was D. You were D. Well, did you say A, Nate?
Yeah, I don't know any of these people.
And the answer. Ray Carruth and Ray Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ian and I both got this one. Or, no wait, I got this. No wait, I said C, yeah. I went with Beasley, yeah. Alright. Well, in 34 Super Bowls, how many times has a quarterback been named the MVP? 18, 15, 30, 23.
It was a higher number. I'm gonna go with 30.
That sounds a little high to me. I don't know if I want to go for 18 or 23, though. Because, I'll go with 23, I guess.
Yeah, 23.
And the answer, 18. I should have gone with my gut. Man. Alright. Well, let's see. What Charlotte Hornets player died in a tragic car crash in May 2000? Derek Thomas, Bobby Fields, Anthony Mason, David Wesley. Now, this is me, right? Charlotte Hornets. I don't know anything about the Hornets, so I'm just going to go with Derek Thomas.
You go with Bobby Fields.
D? I don't know.
Who you going with, D?
Yep.
And the answer, Bobby Fields.
Oh.
Man, he's just sweeping. I think you got that luck from Doug's belt. You believe it, man. Alright. What was the name of the Seattle Sun? Go on.
Does it have the answers written on the back of the belt?
I don't know. Maybe if he takes it off and we see him imprinted on his belly, we'll know. What was the name of the Seattle Sonics home court before they moved to become Oklahoma City Thunder? Staples Center, Key Arena, the Rose Garden, Madison Square Gardens. This is who?
First last time? Yeah, it's
Nate's turn, isn't it?
Yeah, I was the first one on Derek Thomas, so.
yeah.
B. Oh wait, I'll go C.
I think I'm gonna go with D, the Madison Square Gardens.
It's in New York, isn't it?
Might be right.
I'm gonna go with. I changed it up. I'm gonna go with Nate on that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna go with A, Staples Center. And the answer,
Okay.
It's got to be one of those two.
Key Arena. Man, can you tell none of us pay any attention at all to sports? We're horrible dudes, I guess. Alright, what park is home to the Detroit Tigers? Safeco Field, Comerica Park, Pacific Bell Park, Yankee Stadium. This is Ian, huh?
Yeah, it's not Yankee Stadium. I believe that's.
Isn't that, I think that's New York.
Pacific Bell.
I think I'm gonna go with the Pacific Bell Park C.
Yeah, I was gonna go with that one too.
Well, you Nate.
Let's see. A.
There you go.
Can you tell I'm guessing?
See how safe
And
it
the
is?
answer, Comerica. I like how we all guess everything but the right answer. That's the best part of this.
Yeah. I know.
Which of these colleges was not in the Pac-10 before it became the Pac-12? Oregon State, Washington, Colorado, Stanford. Okay. Pac-10. Oregon State?
Mix it up. Oregon State.
They decided to mix it up and put a which wasn't in there.
Hmm.
It makes it harder, man, especially if you don't know your stuff.
We go Colorado.
Oregon.
The answer, Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Colorado.
Man, Ian is just sweeping them this time. When it's all BS, for some reason Ian is just the king of it this week. Which NBA star threw?
That's
Yes.
Nate. I don't have anything. My phone's right here. My tablet. I don't have. Not
He's got his phone. He's got his tablet.
They're not on there. I don't. The screens are blank.
Yeah, that's true.
Which NBA star threw a person through a plate glass window in a bar fight in October 1997? Was it Kobe Bryant, Rasheed Wallace, Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson?
This is you, Nate.
Kobe Bryant?
I'm gonna go with that. Didn't they make a song parodying? Wasn't it like a song that was a parody of the guy named Gnarls Barkley?
That's a group. That's parody of his name.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gnarls Barkley.
Well, see, both of those guys are still pretty popular names, so I can't imagine them throwing somebody through a window in a bar fight and still, So I've got to imagine it's either Rasheed or Allen.
Oh, it's definitely not Roy Rice.
Who's Roy Wright? What? I don't even know anymore.
His wife in elevator.
Oh,
Back
that
her
guy.
up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Rasheed Wallace. I have no idea, so.
Okay.
And
That was gnarly. He was Kobe and then
and the answer, Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Oh no, I that.
Up, you heard it.
Well, he won that
I
one.
got that one.
Oh man.
Yeah, you notice I've never done a ding for it because we never all got the correct answer.
Oh, man. Which of the? All right. So how many more we got, man? Like you've got 7, and considering how many we've all
We
missed.
got 5 left.
Okay. Which of these 4 was the tallest player to ever play in the NBA? Manute Bol, Shaquille O'Neal, Sean Bradley, George Morrison.
Ooh. I want to say Shaquille.
Damn, I don't think it. I mean, he's a tall guy, but
We go with Sean Bradley.
it's because I think that's a red herring.
Hey,
I'm gonna say Shaq.
You gonna do a Space Jam? You going with Space Jam?
That was Michael Jordan.
Jordan.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was Michael Jordan.
Shaquille O'Neal was Real Steel, and what was that one where he played a
Shazam.
genie? Shazam, or was it Kazam?
Yeah,
Shazam, okay. And the answer, George Morrison. Who is that? I don't know who that is. At an MLB park, how far is it from home base to first base? 100 feet, 75 feet, 80 feet, 90 feet. And this is me, huh? From home base to first base. I'm gonna say 75.
That's what I was gonna go with, the shortest one. Cause I don't think it's that. I don't think it's like 100. That's a lot, man.
I'll go with 100.
I'm just gonna go with the polar opposite, huh?
Watch it be like 80. And the answer, 90 feet. None of us got it. Hey. What is the Seattle Mariners mascot? Sasquatch, Lenny the Latte, the Mariner Moose, the Mariner.
Okay.
D?
E.
Yeah.
What's a mariner? Do you know, Ben?
Isn't that a fish?
Well, I'm going to wait till hear what you guys had to say before I answer.
I think Ben might know one.
Actually. I don't know what it is. I think it is a fish. It can't be if it's a moose.
I'm gonna
go with a
just the regular mariner.
Well, it's the Mariner. It's just that swordfish, isn't it? I mean, you see. So, I'm pretty sure I've seen their logo is just that swordfish, so it'd be the Mariner.
Yeah, well, that's what I guess.
I mean, this is the most forward question we've had on this thing, so. And the answer,
What did Nate say?
he went with the Mariner. I like how none of us chose Lenny the Latte. The Mariner Moose! That's it. Well,
What?
maybe I was thinking of the Marlins or something. I don't know. I'm horrible.
Dude, I'm gonna wiki that. Just to make sure. Oh, that's Amazon.
Mariner Moose. Well. Do-do-do.
Oh,
Well, I don't think we should ever do sports trivia again. Who picks
Or we
first?
should do it every week.
No. Who picks first in the 2000 NFL Draft? Cincinnati, Arizona, Philadelphia, Cleveland. This is Ian, right?
You say Philly.
Yeah, I was going to say Philly as well.
I'll go with Philly cheesesteak.
You're not gonna have
What-
some faith in our team? Go Cleveland.
Watch us lose so bad at this. The answer, Cleveland.
Should've gone with our team. Oh,
Oh, well.
Cleveland. Cleveland's. You can fill in the rest of the song if you want.
Do 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 do. You know, my high school marching band did a version of the
Sucks.
did a version of the Cleveland Rocks theme for the Drew Carey show for one of our halftime shows. Because yeah, it was a pretty catchy tune. All the
Really?
little chicks with the crimson lips. Who did the Florida Gators defeat to make it to the NCAA National Championship basketball game in 2000? Was it Michigan State, Stanford, Wisconsin, North Carolina? Florida Gators in 2000. I did not pay attention to any sports. Actually, much of anything at the age of in 2000. Gators. I want to say North Carolina.
A.
Ian, what do you think?
State.
All right. Well, it should be Stanford or Wisconsin.
What do you go with then?
I went with North Carolina. And the answer, North Carolina. I have come back to make 3. Oh, man. I don't think I'm going to be stealing that belt back from you, Ian.
No, that was it, man. I won with 7. Dad's got 3. Nate's just got 1. Yeah. Hit my elbow. Yes. I am the reigning champion of sports nerddom.
You mean nerd sports done?
Nerd sportsdom. Football, yeah. I love having tribalism of Team A and Team B. I love it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's one of those things where, like, you can tell I find it amazing that of the 3 of us, none of us care at all about sports or know anything about team's history or anything. You figure one of us would be like, yeah, I kind of follow one thing. It's never been a personal interest in my, with me and my family. Nobody cares about sports. Some people, I mean, I remember during the last, OSU game, man, people on Facebook and a lot of guys like, oh man, my team, it's like, really? I couldn't tell you who they play anytime other than I hear, oh, they're playing a game. Oh, who are they playing? Because I don't know. I don't know, man. It's priorities, I suppose. I sit and learn all the words to a theme song of a TV show or know a creator of some obscure comic book character. Oh, man.
I'm just disappointed in you that you don't go to the games and put different colors on your face. Put some face paint on. Those are your war colors.
Any excuse to not wear a shirt, huh? Okay, well, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you? What are your thoughts though? Like, I mean, the only thing that I think was interesting with sports is like that whole thing with the tailgating. What do you think about that?
What, like, you mean the people that party go into the game drunk already? Or you're talking about, like, I don't know.
The people that like grill and stuff out of their cars and stuff. Then they like the NFL wanted to ban that or something a while ago.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, why would you? If you're holding an event where you can sell concessions, why would you want people cooking outside of your venue? I can totally understand that. Man, we're gonna see this concert, but first we gotta make some ribs, and then we gotta go brew our own beer.
Oh, you mean you don't blame the movie theaters for not letting people bring food in?
Well, no, I could see why they would do it. If I could, I would. It's like, well, am I going to get mad at the bar that says you can't bring your own beer? Oh, man. But yeah,
Do you mind if I... It's like you go into Olive Garden. Hey, you mind if I bring some McDonald's in here?
Olive Garden. I like Olive Garden. They're a little pricey, but, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard. I recall reading when I was away on my November trip. I was reading that Olive Garden had sold a passes for for the year or whatever, that people could if you bought a pass you could eat at Olive Garden as much as you want and eat as often as you want there. And apparently people that got it had all kinds of health issues and were going to doctors more common, and then apparently somebody died from it because he'd gone too many times. And I don't know, man.
I love when people make they'll say conspiracies about food. They'll be yeah, the restaurant gives you all this free salad and breadsticks just so you can fill up and you don't eat your food then.
No, don't buy a drink. That's how they get you. That's how they make their money. Yeah, it's well, I mean, some people complain about the stuff at fast food is junk. It's well, yeah, of course it is, but it's comfort food and it's stuff that you're not supposed to eat the food every day. People when people were oh, Paula Deen, her recipes are all butter. It's well, yeah. She just wants to, she's making this big fancy cake and she wants everyone that makes it at home to go, this is delicious. It's got a huge caloric intake and I shouldn't be eating it every day, but it tastes good. Like the burger places, they put the stuff that your body craves that aren't good for you, but, oh, this tastes so good I can't stop eating all this fat and this, I don't know.
Well, the problem is that the only thing I would dispute about the fast food stuff is because there is a difference between having a lot of fat and grease and stuff in food, and then I remember seeing an article about McDonald's. They put there's a form of silicone or plastic in their chicken nuggets.
Oh, well, if you want to talk about the chicken nuggets, remember the pink slime issue during the summer, and before that, remember the whole there's yoga mat material in the Subway bread. Really? Are we come to this point now?
Yeah, but I guess it was a real thing though, where they took it out or something because of the uproar.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what yoga mats are made of. For all I know, they could be made of wheat bran. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I'm not gonna, I mean, I can understand. There was that whole thing about there's this thing in Crest and it's linked to cancer, and they knew it was in there, but they I don't know, man. Was it Crest or was it Total or what? I don't know. Not Total. I don't know. There's news story. When news is all sensationalism. So whenever a thing happens, we should all be up in an uproar over this. Okay, and then we never hear about it got pulled, or it turned out that story was bogus. We never hear the end of these things. It's always just riled up. Okay, now rile up for the next thing. Now let's manufacture something and get riled up about it.
Yeah. Well, you do have to watch out for those types of things, but I don't know, place like McDonald's, that seems like it's the bottom of the barrel for me. I mean, me and Nate go to Burger King and Wendy's or whatever, but I don't know, of all the stuff that I've heard about McDonald's, I try to stay away from them. And even the Burger King, I try to stay away from the Whoppers because there's supposedly horse meat in the Whoppers.
And the horse meat scandal is more a thing in the UK than it was here. They're trying to pass edible.
Expensive.
Well, good horse meat.
Yeah.
That's the point. Good horse meat is the leftovers from the stuff that they didn't turn into glue. Well, that's not. That's the stuff they feed to dogs and animals.
Yeah. Just fast food chains, I guess I try to stay away from. I mean, you could say Pizza Hut is fast food, but I don't know. It's a little bit If it takes a little bit, if it takes like 10 minutes to cook, then I guess I'm okay with it. I guess.
So, have you tried the new Pizza Hut menu, guys?
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, I've tried. We tried the sriracha stuff. Like we had a pizza with sriracha sauce on it, and then a pizza with sriracha and a crust. And actually, the crust pizza was spicier. Like the sriracha crust was spicier. I don't know why, because maybe it was like more condensed in the crust or whatever.
Well, you got more of it. Like, you drizzle the sauce on, it's only going to get so many spots, but you put it in the bread.
No, we had the sriracha as the main sauce, like the tomato sauce, instead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe they figure if they're putting it as the main sauce, it's not gonna, they can't make it as spicy as, like, something they figure it's going to mix with the dough more. I don't know. I've gone with the barbecue sauce on the garden party. As I went there once with my dad, and I got a small one to try because we got the buffet. And then I went there with my mom, and I got a medium size, and I ate the whole thing, the whole pizza by myself. And she got one of those little personal pan pizzas, and they put so many spinach leaves on it. Oh man, it was great.
So, yeah, that garden party, that's one of the new ones, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's why I tried it. Because my mom she looked at the little menu where it's like, oh, take this from this and, build your own. And I was like, well, I wanted to try one of the special flavors, and I know the garden party is good. I'm not going to, try and reinvent the wheel. I'm going with the garden party again. So, it was good. It was
And also,
good.
that's cool. Also, I had that meat bra pizza, and I put, like, that balsamic vinaigrette drizzle or whatever on it. It was pretty good.
Balsamic.
Also, I like to get I got the Italian salad. Their salads are pretty good, pizza.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been a while. Like, the last couple of times, like, I went with my dad and we had the pizza buffet. I kind of wish I had ordered some of the pasta, because I remember the pasta being pretty good. And, like, as much as I like pizza, it's like, you ever just sit down and eat a whole pizza by yourself after a while? It's like, I kind of like to change this up. Like, I have, like, 3 slices, and then I like something else. It's like, even if it's a different pizza, it's like, well, it's still kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know, like, how did pizza become, like, more of, like, a unhealthy thing? Because I thought, like, the original idea of a pizza was more to have, like, all the main food groups in your diet, like the bread and the cheese.
A traditional Italian pizza is very healthy, and there's there's little cheese on it, if any, and it's the thing is, it's like, cultural foods like that get Americanized, like, I'm sure, pasta is a healthy food, but then you get elbow macaroni and mac and cheese, and then, then you get, like, the Chef Boyardee. And then you look at pizza, it's like you get the Chicago deep dish, which is that huge stuff, and then you get the
New
York...
It's like a cake of pizza.
Yeah, and then you get the New York one that's all just, like, real thin and floppy, and,
I hate those, man.
It's a matter of, personal, preference, I guess, from the people that fix it. Some people want to make their mark on a food. I mean... like, spaghetti is a pretty common thing, but then it's like, Cincinnati, the Skyline Chili, they've got the spaghetti with a whole bunch of shredded cheese and chili sauce on it. Like, this is alright. We don't know where this came from, but okay.
But, I mean, also, there's people, though, that are, like, health nuts, where they're, like, any kind of carbohydrates are bad, where they feel bad if they eat, like, a piece of bread or something,
Well, I mean, there's people with all kinds of diets, man. I mean, I'm a vegetarian. I had a roommate in college who was on the Atkins diet, and now people are all about the paleo diet. So,
or the all meat diet.
Well, that was basically Atkins, Yeah. I mean, you can, at least on paleo, you can have some nuts, So, I don't know.
But those pasta, aren't they like pasta bowls at Pizza? Aren't they like in a bread bowl or something?
I don't know. Have you ever eaten at a Panera Bread? They'll give you a bread bowl.
Yeah.
I only ate there once because we got the soup. The soup was good, and it was in a bread bowl. But it was such a big bowl, and you're just chewing, and my jaw hurt at the end. I was like, this is good, but ow! Like, I'm not going to do that again. I don't know. I don't know,
What
man.
about you, Nate? Have you had any other variations of the new pizza, flavors and toppings, and
Nope.
pretty much a whole new menu?
No, not really.
You know what I'd really like to try? I'd really like to try the people that own Chipotle. They also have Asian restaurants that are run the same kind of way. So like you get in and you order, lo mein noodles and this and that. And it's like I want to try that, man. It's like I like Chipotle and I'd like to see how they're, a different flavor. I'd like to see them branch out and do other, ethnic foods that way. Put a little bit of variety and try and get me more associated with it.
Yeah. What? Do you have anything else that you want to comment about before we say our first disclaimer about have a happy New Year, but make sure you have a safe New Year and don't kill people, be like road rage and just run people over like in GTA.
Well, I just like to remind the folks and everybody who's tuned in this far, congratulations, you've reached the end of season 3. Thanks for listening so far, and be sure to tune in next year when we come back. And when are we going to come back in? Early January sometime. I don't know if I set the exact date.
I think
yet.
maybe like the second one maybe.
So like the 12th.
Yeah, like the second week.
Yeah. I mean, we still need to plan out what exactly we'd like to do with the next season. But I've enjoyed season 3 of these live shows. I've enjoyed bringing people on. I really appreciate when we have Doug and other people on. And I appreciate when we have our friend Nate stopping by. It was good to see you again, Nate.
Thanks.
Yep, he's always welcome on the show.
Yeah, I think it's been a fun time. I've enjoyed making these shows. I like to make some more. It's a good time to come and hang out with friends. And I'd just like to say, everybody out there, enjoy the holidays, because the problem is, it's like the Peanuts. Everyone's expected to enjoy it, and you realize, man, this is bumming me out. I'm supposed to have fun with these people. I'm supposed to spend all this time with them, and I got to get gifts for them, and then the year's almost over, and I'm supposed to make myself a whole better person next year, and then in like 2 weeks it doesn't work, and you get depressed. It's like, just enjoy the time you spend with people. Try to take care of yourself. Try to love the ones you're with, and be excellent to each other, as Bill and Ted would say. And we all look forward to you listening to us and sharing your thoughts with us in 2015. I know I am.
Yeah. Well, definitely try to be with your family if you can, and remember Christmas should be about family too, because I mean, to begin with, if you didn't have family, you probably wouldn't be getting any presents, I mean,
all the poor orphans just sitting there. Ian, what are you doing? Why are you making me sad? It's Christmas, Ian. Why?
Well, I'm just saying, be grateful for what you have.
Yep. I mean, even if some people, the holidays, you're supposed to be with your family. Some people aren't cool with their families, but they're with other people and they've built a new family. And sometimes, man, just because somebody's related to you doesn't mean you have to see them. Some people are toxic and poisonous to your life. It's like, if people aren't going to be respectful and positive influences and good with you, then you don't need to keep them around. And if somebody's good but not related to you, it doesn't matter. Be good on somebody's life, man. So
remember, family is how do you say it? It's like home is with like a family. It's not like a place or whatever,
Well, so with that, folks, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the show, and be sure to tune into us on the 12th when we come back live to bring you Season 4. It's going to be awesome. So, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all on the other side.
Peace.
out more, visit NoRightsProductions.com. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/NoRights. And hey, why don't you check out my Tumblr at NoRights.tumblr.com.